Chapter 1427. Tiangang was extremely powerful, and he was publicly acknowledged as the #1 person in Aries College. Even many of the elders weren't his match. Although Tiangang had yet to break through to the Divine King realm, many Divine Kings had already been defeated by him. Ji Guyuan had high hopes for Tiangang and hoped that he would be able to achieve good results in the upcoming Academy tournament. Even the other 8 kings looked at Tiangang with solemn gazes. Although there were many people who wanted to replace Tiangang's position over the years, no one had ever succeeded. Although Tiangang looked simple and honest, he was extremely terrifying in battle. His powerful battle strength shattered the confidence of all the disciples who dared to challenge him. Boom! A resplendent divine light spread out as Ji Guyuan, the vice principals, and the elders all sat down on a high platform in the distance, each of them emitting powerful auras. Many of the elders and referees were already in place, and the generational tournament could begin at any time. Everyone, our Aries College's generational tournament that occurs once every 60 years is about to begin. In this generational tournament, the college has provided generous rewards for everyone. As long as you have enough strength, you will be able to obtain everything you desire. Ji Guyuan stood up, and as his voice spread throughout the huge plaza, all the disciples quieted down. Ji Guyuan smiled and continued, "This generational tournament will be the same as the previous ones. The top 9 of the Hidden Dragon ranking will inherit the 9 kings' positions, and the rules for the challenges will be the same as before. Those who are ranked lower on the Hidden Dragon ranking can challenge those who are ranked higher, while those who are ranked higher cannot challenge those who are ranked lower. Everyone will have 3 chances to challenge those who are ranked higher, and the winner will automatically replace the loser in the Hidden Dragon ranking." This time, there were 2 major rewards. The first was for the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. The champion of the Hidden Dragon ranking would receive 100 drops of holy liquid, 1 free entry into the Martial Repository Tower, and 1 year of free access to the deity's lake and God of War Pagoda. The 2nd to 9th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking would receive 50 drops of holy liquid and a God of War Pagoda. The 10th to 30th place would receive 20 drops of holy liquid and a God of War Pagoda of their choice. The second reward is the reward for the top 100 rankers with the most improvements. The first ranker will be rewarded with 100 drops of holy liquid, a half-saint treasure, and a free entry into the Martial Depository Tower. The 2nd to 10th rankers will be rewarded with 30 drops of holy liquid and a godly king weapon. The 11th to 50th rankers will be rewarded with 20 drops of holy liquid and a godly king pill of their choice. In a single breath, Ji Guyuan announced the rules of the generational competition and its arrival. With a wave of his sleeve, a resplendent light immediately appeared in the void. There was a translucent sacred liquid that was as resplendent as the sun. There were also powerful weapons and precious pills. There were all sorts of treasures. Many disciples were in an uproar. In the previous years, the rewards for the top 100 in the Hidden Dragon ranking were always given out. However, this year, there was an additional reward for the top 100 who improved their ranking the most. This immediately caused many disciples to become excited. For example, if the person ranked 8,000th place could defeat the great senior brother Tiangang, his ranking would increase by 8,000 and he would be the undisputed #1. This was good news for the new disciples who had just entered the sect. Maybe some of them would be lucky enough to directly enter the top 100. However, everyone looked at Ling Xiao at the same time. They knew that Ling Xiao was ranked 8,601st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. However, Ling Xiao definitely had the battle prowess of the top 10. It seemed like Long Outyen would be the one who would receive the most rewards this time. That was 100 drops of sacred liquid and 1 half-step saint artifact. Moreover, he could enter the martial repository and choose any martial art to cultivate. Many disciples looked at Ling Xiao with envy and jealousy. Ling Xiao's heart skipped a beat. He understood Ji Guyuan's intentions. Ji Guyuan probably knew that the astral tournament was about to begin. That was why he did not hesitate to give out so many rewards. It was to motivate the disciples to work hard and prepare for the upcoming astral tournament. The rewards for the first place were quite attractive to Ling Xiao. At the very least, he would have a better chance of breaking through to the Divine King realm. Alright, I won't say anything more. Next, I announce the start of Aries College's generational tournament. Ji Guyuan said with a smile, then retreated. 9 sacred battle arenas appeared in front of the crowd. Everyone's eyes were filled with excitement. I'll go first. Chao Kuan, ranked 3,681st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Senior brother Lu, I challenge you. A young man in a black robe impatiently stepped onto the sacred battle arena and said coldly to a young man below. His cultivation was at the early heavenly god realm. Senior brother Lu was a white-robe youth. He looked elegant and was also at the early heavenly god realm. However, his aura was somewhat obscure. His name was Lu Yuan, ranked 3,101st on the Hidden Dragon ranking. He was more than 500 ranks higher than Chao Kuan. Chapter 1428. You've cultivated the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique? How is that possible? Lu Yuan's expression changed as a look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. However, the speed of the punch was too fast. Moreover, Chao Kuan had unleashed the power of the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique when he least expected it. Lu Yuan could not block it at all. Soon, Chao Kuan's punch sent him flying while coughing out blood. Wang Lan, you bitch. Is this the pretty boy you've hooked up with? What a loser. Pa. Chao Kuan looked at the pretty girl below and laughed coldly. He then kicked Lu Yuan out of the divine battlefield arena. He had won the battle and had even risen by more than 500 ranks. Lu Yuan coughed out blood continuously. After hearing Chao Kuan's words, he fainted from anger. Chao Kuan then challenged 2 more disciples. However, this time, he chose to be more conservative. In the end, he won both battles and rose to the 2,872nd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Other than Chao Kuan's Divine Battlefield Arena, the other Divine Battlefield arenas were also filled with intense battles. Whether it was those who held grudges against each other, or those who simply wanted to challenge their senior brothers and sisters to make a name for themselves, all of them began to fight. However, the 9 great kings did not make a move. No one dared to challenge them. On Ling Zhao's side, Fang Sheng also made a move. Although Fang Sheng's cultivation was only at the mid-heavenly god realm, he had cultivated the indestructible war body. Moreover, he had already reached the 3rd stage. His physical body was extremely strong. In the end, he won all 3 battles. In the 3rd battle, Fang Sheng defeated a late heavenly god realm expert and replaced him on the ranking, entering the 203rd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. One should know that Fang Sheng's previous ranking was around 5,000. Now that he had risen to the 203rd place on the Hidden Dragon ranking, many people were stunned. Pa, senior brother Long, I'll give it a try too. Yin Tiansong could no longer hold back and began to challenge the others. Yin Tiansong's cultivation had already reached the great circle of the heavenly god realm. His cultivation speed was extremely fast. Moreover, he had cultivated one of the 9 great techniques, the mixed Yuan Qi. Together with his 5 elements heaven escape technique, he could unleash an extremely powerful force. The first opponent that Yin Tiansong chose to challenge was still considered conservative. It was a late-stage heavenly god disciple. Of course, he won without a doubt. His ranking instantly rose to the 300th place. In his second challenge, Yin Tiansong directly challenged a Great Circle Heavenly God Realm disciple. That disciple cultivated the Burning Sky Halberd technique, which was extremely powerful. However, Yin Tiansong's 5 elements heavenly escape technique was too strange and unpredictable. In the end, after several hundred rounds of battle, Yin Tiansong still won, and his ranking rose to 158th. Suddenly, many people noticed Yin Tiansong. Oh my god, Long Outyin is so perverted. Why are the people around him so perverted as well? Who the hell was this Yin Tiansong? I've never heard of it before. Isn't it? It seems like Yin Tiansong was only at the true god stage 3 years ago. In just 3 years, he has risen to the full circle of the heavenly god stage. Is he still going to let others live? Could it be that this guy really wants to enter the top 100? That's hard to say. However, the senior brothers in the top 100 are all in the great perfection heavenly God realm. Moreover, their strength is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid it won't be that easy. The crowd discussed animatedly as they looked at Yin Tiansong with eyes full of shock. Forget about Feng Ya and Jiliangchen by Ling Zhao's side. They were only in the middle stage of the heavenly God stage now, so it was not too frightening. However, there was also Xian Wang who was in the great perfection heavenly God stage. Many people were guessing how high Xian Wang would be able to enter the hidden dragon leaderboard. For the third challenge, Yin Tiansong chose to challenge Wu Shuangchuan, the disciple who was ranked 100. Wu Shuangchuan was a veteran in the great perfection heavenly God stage. He cultivated the mixed element spirit and 5 mountain divine palm. Moreover, he had reached the lesser mastery stage in both of them. His strength was unparalleled. Yin Tiansong's battle was extremely difficult. After all, although his cultivation was in the great perfection heavenly God stage, he was still slightly weaker than Wu Shuangchuan. However, the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique was extremely mysterious. Ling Xiao even guessed that the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique was very likely to be a supreme saint technique that was extremely compatible with Yin Tiansong's physique. Therefore, although Yin Tiansong was at a disadvantage, he could still hold on with the 5 elements heaven teleportation technique. The two of them fought for over 1,000 rounds. Yin Tiansong remembered Ling Zhao's words and fought steadily. In the end, Wu Shuangchuan couldn't hold on any longer. Yin Tiansong finally found a flaw in his opponent's defense and defeated him. Yin Tiansong finally made it to the 100th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. This time, everyone was shocked. Yin Tiansong had risen from the 8,000th place to the 100th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. At the very least, he would be in the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. Thinking about the generous reward, everyone's eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. Oldie, not bad. You actually made it to the top 100. Yi Liangchen patted Yin Tiansong's shoulder as the two of them laughed heartily. It's all thanks to senior brother Long's guidance. Yin Tiansong was naturally overjoyed. He had already used up his 3 chances to challenge others. The only thing he had to pay attention to now was to defeat those who wanted to challenge him and maintain his ranking on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Yin Tiansong's challenge made Feng Ya and Yi Liangchen eager to give it a try. Feng Ya had the wind spirit constitution. Ling Xiao allowed her to cultivate the 7 forms of judgment. Feng Ya's improvement in the 7 forms of judgment was lightning fast, and she had already reached the minor accomplishment realm. On the other hand, Yi Liangchen cultivated the seal of light. Although he was sloppy when it came to cultivation, his improvement in the seal of light was very fast. It seemed to be very compatible with Yi Liangchen's constitution. Feng Ya and Yi Liangchen quickly won 2 rounds. Feng Ya rose to the 620th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking while Yi Liangchen rose to the 600th place. Big brother, what do you think if I challenge those in the top 100? Yi Liangchen said excitedly. He was actually aiming for the top 100 on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Ling Xiao pondered for a moment and said with a smile, "Sure. I think you might even be able to make it to the top 10, let alone the top 100. Why don't you try?" Yi Liangchen was in the mid-heavenly God realm. If he challenged a disciple in the late heavenly God realm, he should be able to defeat them easily. However, Yi Liangchen could not be judged by common sense. This guy had the body of misfortune. Ling Xiao believed that he could even defeat a divine king, let alone a great circle heavenly god. Yi Liangchen coughed dryly and said, "Big brother, stop joking around. I am no match for those in the top 10. However, after getting Ling Zhao's approval, Yi Liangchen's confidence was boosted. He jumped onto the battle ring and said proudly, "Who is the 99th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking? I want to challenge you." Chapter 1429. After Yin Tiansong entered the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, many people had their attention on Ling Xiao and the others. When they saw Long Outyin enter the gods' battleground, they became even more curious. They wondered how far Yi Liangchen could go. However, as soon as Yi Liangchen finished speaking, the crowd exploded. "This bastard! Doesn't he know that senior brother Dongcheng is ranked 99th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard? Where did he get the confidence to be so arrogant? That's right. Yin Tiansong is already lucky enough to enter the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. However, Yi Liangchen is only a middle heavenly god. How dare he be so arrogant? Senior brother Dong, kill this bastard. Damn it. Those who follow Long Outyin are so reckless. It's time to teach them a lesson. The crowd was filled with righteous indignation and they started to mock Yi Liangchen. Yi Liangchen was only a middle heavenly god. However, he was able to win 2 battles consecutively and enter the top 600 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. If he were to enter the top 100, the senior disciples would be humiliated. Therefore, at this moment, everyone started to boycott Yi Liangchen. Dongcheng's face darkened and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He then leaped onto the god's battleground. Dongcheng had broken through to the great realm of the heavenly god for a few decades. His strength had improved tremendously over the years. This time, he even had the ambition to enter the top 20 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. He even wanted to challenge the 9 kings. However, he was being looked down upon by a nobody. He was furious. However, he was a cunning person. He did not show any anger on his face. Instead, he said calmly, "You must be junior brother Yi. I am Dongcheng. You are no match for me. If you don't want to lose too badly, get off the stage." Senior brother Dongcheng, right? The battle hasn't even started and you are already looking down on me? Don't worry. I will be gentle. Yi Liangchen chuckled. He was extremely confident. This Yi Liangchen is so ugly. Where did he get the confidence to defeat senior brother Dong? A few pretty female disciples widened their eyes and looked at Yi Liangchen with disdain. Since you insist, let's fight. Dongcheng didn't get angry and said indifferently. In his opinion, he only needed 3 moves to defeat Yi Liangchen, who was only at the mid-stage of the heavenly god realm. He only wanted to end the battle quickly and find a chance to attack the 9 great kings. Could get out of my way. I'm going to start acting tough. Yi Liangchen laughed out loud. His eyes were filled with eagerness. The corners of Dongcheng's eyes twitched, and black lines appeared on his forehead. Rumble. Yi Liangchen's body was emitting a bright light. It was holy and vast. A fist print flew across the sky like the rising sun, blooming with millions of rays of light. It was the seal of light. In Yi Liangchen's hand, it seemed to be immortal and eternal. Radiant seal? You do have some strength. Dongcheng's eyes flashed. Yi Liangchen's radiant seal was indeed powerful. Perhaps even a late heavenly god might not be a match for him. Unfortunately, he met Dongcheng. Dongcheng's expression was indifferent, and he also met the attack with a punch. The bright fist print was incomparably holy. At the same time, there was a ferocious fist print that seemed to be able to suppress everything. Dongcheng also cultivated the seal of light. Rumble. The 2 fists collided, and the void trembled slightly. Bright divine light shot out in all directions, and unparalleled divine energy bloomed between the 2 of them. Yi Liangchen and Dongcheng's body shook, and they could not help but take a few steps back. This guy. It seems like he has been hiding his strength all this while. Ling Zhao's eyes moved. Yi Liangchen's seal of light had also reached the greater completion realm. Dongcheng did not have any advantage in this punch. It could be said that they were evenly matched. Ling Zhao's focus was usually on Yi Liangchen's saint physique of misfortune. He did not pay attention to Yi Liangchen's combat strength at all. Now, it seemed like Yi Liangchen was also very strong. Dongcheng's eyes widened, and he became slightly serious. Yi Liangchen's strength was beyond his expectation. Both of their radiant seals were at the great completion realm. However, Yi Liangchen's body seemed to have an immortal aura which was extremely compatible with the radiant seal. Therefore, his strength had increased tremendously. Again. Yi Liangchen was in high spirits, and his face was full of pride. However, the speed of his attacks was extremely fast. Both of his hands were clenched into fists, and there were mysterious runes surrounding his body. It was as if he was standing in a dazzling galaxy. He pushed the galaxy forward, and every punch was majestic and powerful. Boom, Boom, boom. Dong Cheng was also energized, and he no longer looked down on Yi Liangchen. He also used the seal of light to fight against Yi Liangchen. The two of them collided rapidly in the void, and every blow was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. Although the deity battlefield had its own space, and there were countless mountains and towering ancient trees around it, with Yi Liangchen and Dong Cheng as the center, countless mountains exploded, and countless towering ancient trees turned into dust. Bang! Another fierce collision occurred, and the ground cracked like a spider web. Yi Liangchen can actually fight senior brother Dong to such an extent. How is this possible? Everyone was in disbelief. Initially, they wanted to see Yi Liangchen fight. Some of them even thought that Yi Liangchen would be defeated in 3 moves by Dong Cheng. Now, it seemed like they had really underestimated Yi Liangchen. Everyone's eyes turned serious, especially when they saw Ling Xiao, King Xian, and Fengya who had yet to make a move. They were guessing what level the 3 of them were at. Boom! Yi Liangchen's divine power rose, and the seal of light contained an incomparably mysterious power. Moreover, his eyesight was very sharp, and every punch of his was aimed at Dong Cheng's weak points. Therefore, Dong Cheng was extremely uncomfortable. 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique, Kill! Dong Cheng's eyes revealed a trace of sharpness, and suddenly, blazing lightning exploded around his body. Buzz! The void trembled, and bolts of lightning lingered around. They were as thick as mountains, and they separated into the power of the 5 elements. Finally, they gathered on Dong Cheng's fist, and he attacked Yi Liangchen. The 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique was the law of lightning with the most terrifying attack power. It was ranked at the top of the 9 ultimate techniques. At this moment, when Dong Cheng activated it, the power of the Seal of Light actually surpassed the power of the Seal of Light. Boom! Dong Cheng's fist landed, and suddenly, the sky exploded. 5 colored lightning fell from the sky, and it seemed to form a vast lightning domain, enveloping Yi Liangchen. Although Yi Liangchen's Seal of Light was strong, it was not a match for the power of the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique. In the end, the Seal of Light was broken, and Yi Liangchen was enveloped by the lightning. Is Yi Liangchen going to lose? Chapter 1430. Kacha. Yi Liangchen's body was struck by bolts of lightning and his body was sent flying. There were bolts of lightning in his mouth and his eyes rolled back. Very clearly, this attack of Dong Cheng's made him completely unprepared, so he suffered quite a bit of loss. Kill! Dong Cheng's eyes were cold. He did not stop after he succeeded in his attack. He held the radiant seal with his left hand and 5 bolts of lightning with his right hand as he charged towards Yi Liangchen. The radiant seal and 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique exploded at the same time. Dong Cheng wanted to defeat Yi Liangchen with a single attack. Yi Liangchen rolled his eyes and there was a trace of helplessness in his eyes. He muttered to himself, "I didn't want to act tough but you forced me. I can't do anything about it." Boom! An ancient and mysterious aura burst out from Yi Liangchen's body. It was as if he was a god from ancient times, or an ancient celestial emperor who ruled the heavens. Dazzling runes intertwined behind him, and a mysterious phenomenon appeared. Behind him, there seemed to be an incomparably mysterious chaotic world. The gods fell, the heavens collapsed, and the earth cracked. Tens of thousands of creatures cried out in grief. It was like hell. The aura on Yi Liangchen's body became incomparably terrifying. A mysterious domain formed around Yi Liangchen, causing the entire divine battle arena to shine brightly at this moment. Ji Guyuan also noticed the battle between Yi Liangchen and Dong Cheng at this moment. His eyes revealed a trace of shock. Even with his experience, he could not recognize what the phenomenon behind Yi Liangchen was. He only took a glance and he felt his primordial spirit trembling. Who is this kid? Ji Guyuan's eyes were serious and his heart was filled with doubts. Is this Yi Liangchen's true strength? He is indeed strong. Ling Zhao's eyes also moved. He could feel that the phenomenon behind Yi Liangchen was incomparably powerful. It represented some kind of terrifying power. However, it seemed to be sealed in Yi Liangchen's body and he could not fully control it. Kacha! Dong Cheng's body trembled. He felt as if he was being stared at by some powerful ancient beast. His heart trembled uncontrollably. The power of the mysterious domain exploded. Dong Cheng's light seal and the power of the Five Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique seemed to have been swallowed by the darkness and instantly disappeared into nothingness. Scram! Yi Liangchen raised his head and said coldly to Dong Cheng. Yi Liangchen's eyes were red, cruel, sorrowful, solemn, and indifferent. Dong Cheng was shocked when he saw his eyes. Dong Cheng felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. He penetrated the barrier of the divinity battle ring and landed on the square. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. How is this possible? Everyone was dumbfounded. Dong Cheng was defeated just like that? Many people didn't even have time to see how Yi Liangchen did it. They only heard Yi Liangchen shout, "Get lost," before Dong Cheng vomited blood and fainted. The terrifying phenomenon behind Yi Liangchen disappeared in a flash. Many people didn't see it, so they felt that it was a little strange. It was as if they were dreaming. Yi Liangchen's face was slightly pale. He jumped down from the divinity battle ring. His entire body was incomparably weak. Feng Ye and Yin Tianzong hurriedly went forward to help him back. I won. Yi Liangchen's eyes regained their clarity. He looked at Ling Xiao with a smug expression. You won. However, don't use the power in your body rashly. You won't be so lucky next time. Ling Xiao glared at Yi Liangchen and said. Seeing how weak Yi Liangchen was, he knew that Yi Liangchen must have paid a huge price. Yi Liangchen chuckled. After swallowing a few drops of the holy liquid, he sat down cross-legged and began to refine it. The aura on his body gradually stabilized. Ji Guyuan looked deeply at Yi Liangchen, but he didn't say anything. Yi Liangchen's ranking also rose to 99th on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Senior Brother Long, I want to challenge Senior Brother Wang Long, who is ranked 98th. Feng Ye suddenly raised her head and looked at Ling Xiao. There was a trace of determination in her eyes. Ling Xiao was slightly stunned. He smiled bitterly and said, Little Ye, are you sure? It's not that easy to enter the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking. Feng Ye had the Wind Spirit Constitution. Although it wasn't as good as the legendary Saint Constitution, it was still extremely extraordinary. She was naturally close to the laws of the wind. Therefore, her cultivation of the 7 styles of judgment had improved by leaps and bounds. However, her cultivation increased a little too quickly. The middle stage of the Heavenly God realm was still not enough to defeat Wang Long, who was in the great circle of the Heavenly God realm. After all, those who were able to enter Aries College were geniuses. Whether it was their talent, temperament, or strength, they were all extremely strong. The reason Yi Liangchen could defeat Dong Cheng was because of the seal in his body. It would be very difficult for Feng Ye to defeat Wang Long in this battle. I'm sure. Even if I lose, I won't regret it. Feng Ye said seriously. There were still some things in her heart that she didn't say out loud. Seeing that Ling Xiao's strength was getting stronger and stronger, Feng Ye didn't want to fall too far behind. She hoped that she could catch up to Ling Xiao's footsteps. Feng Ye also wanted to see how big the gap was between her and the strongest batch of people in Aries College. Alright, then be careful. Ling Xiao didn't continue to persuade her. Feng Ye went up to the divine battle arena. Because of Yi Liangchen, everyone's attention was focused on Ling Xiao, Feng Ye, and Xian Wang, who had yet to make a move. I want to challenge Senior Brother Wang Long, who is ranked 98th on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Feng Ye's voice was clean and calm. She was wearing a blue dress and her black hair was like a waterfall. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her eyes were as clear as water. Her entire person exuded a calm and gentle aura. Instantly, the eyes of many male disciples lit up. So beautiful! This is my goddess. But why does she want to challenge Senior Brother Wang Long? Could it be that she wants to be like Yi Liangchen and enter the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking? That's hard to say. Anyway, Long Outyen is a demon, and so are the people around him. That junior sister Xian Wang is even more beautiful than senior sister Min Ro. If I can get close to her, I'm willing to give up a few thousand years of my life. Stop dreaming. Everyone was discussing, and their gazes were all on Fengya. Just as Fengya finished speaking, a young man in a black robe with a cold expression flew up to the divine battle arena. You want to challenge me? Junior sister Fengya, you should act according to your capabilities. If my saber doesn't cut your face, then you can't blame me. Chapter 1431. Thank you for your reminder, senior brother. If I lose to you, it's because I'm not skilled enough. I won't complain. Senior brother, please make your move. Fengya said calmly. Her eyes were still very pure. Very well. Since you don't know your own strength, I'll fulfill your wish. Wang Long said indifferently. Clang. A clear sound of a saber rang out. Suddenly, a golden saber appeared in Wang Long's hand. Saber intent spread out, and the sharp aura seemed to be able to tear the void apart. This Wang Long is also cultivating the 7 styles of adjudication? What a coincidence! Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he thought to himself. The 7 styles of adjudication contained the powerful power of the law of wind. It was a peerless saber technique. However, Fengya had the wind spirit constitution, so it was easier for her to comprehend the 7 styles of adjudication. Moreover, the power she could unleash was stronger. If Wang Long's attainment in the 7 styles of adjudication wasn't strong, Fengya might really have a chance of winning. With a flash of light, the Yuan Frost Sword appeared in Fengya's hand. This was a God King weapon that Ling Xiao had given her. She had already refined it to the point where her mind was one with it, allowing her to wield it like an extension of her arm. Using the Yuan Shuang Godly Sword to perform the 7 styles of adjudication had some impact, but it wasn't too big. Boom! A cold light flashed in Wang Long's eyes. The azurite saber in his hand shone brightly as it slashed down at Fengya. The blazing saber light lit up the sky. Wang Long was like a whirlwind, weaving into afterimages in the void. He appeared in front of Fengya almost instantly. Fengya's body shone brightly. The Yuan Shuang Godly Sword hummed as it stabbed forward. It looked very light. However, this sword contained the extreme speed and coldness of the wind. It was filled with killing intent. It stabbed directly at Wang Long's forehead, who was in the midst of the whirlwind. Unexpectedly, Fengya did not dodge. The power of this sword was incomparably terrifying. She was actually fighting with her life on the line. Wang Long's saber could indeed split Fengya in half, but Fengya's sword could also pierce through Wang Long's forehead. Wang Long had never imagined that this seemingly gentle woman would be so decisive in her actions. Lunatic! Wang Long's expression was very ugly. He didn't want to risk his life with Fengya. His body that was flying over suddenly stopped, and the azure gold battle saber also changed direction and slashed towards the Yuan Frost Godly Sword. The momentum that Wang Long had been accumulating was instantly weakened. Under Fengya's all-out attack, Wang Long had already lost the initiative. Therefore, a slight flaw actually appeared in this attack. Clang! As the sword and saber clashed, a resplendent light burst forth. Fengya's eyes flashed, and the Yuan Frost Godly Sword suddenly sped up like a stream of light, stabbing towards the flaw in Wang Long's attack. This sword strike was like a stroke of genius. Moreover, it was steady, accurate, and ruthless. Wang Long's expression changed as he hurriedly raised his saber to block. But it was too late. Fengya's sword deflected the azurite saber and left a deep wound on Wang Long's chest. With a muffled groan, Wang Long was sent flying. Fengya's clothes fluttered. Although her gaze was calm, her actions weren't slow at all. She charged forward, and the Yuan Frost Godly Sword split into rays of resplendent sword light that stabbed towards Wang Long's vital points. No one expected that Wang Long would be forced into such a dangerous situation by Fengya as soon as they started fighting. And all of this came from Fengya's all-out attack at the beginning. She actually incorporated the 7 styles of judgment into her sword technique. Little Ya's comprehension is indeed very high. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh softly. Although Fengya used the Yuan Frost Godly Sword to execute the 7 styles of judgment, she wasn't affected at all. The sword was light and ethereal, and it was extremely compatible with the wind attribute laws. It actually displayed another concept of the 7 styles of judgment. Although Wang Long's cultivation base was at the perfected heavenly god stage, he still looked down on Fengya. Moreover, he had lost the initiative, so he was at a disadvantage after being stabbed by Fengya at the beginning. "Bitch, how dare you injure me?" Wang Long's expression was extremely ugly, and there was a trace of anger in his eyes. He was indeed careless. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been caught by Fengya so quickly. Boom! Divine power gushed out of Wang Long's body, and the power of a perfected heavenly god completely erupted. Green saber light flowed around him, causing his aura to become even sharper. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Wang Long slashed 3 times in a row, each strike sharper than the last. The saber lights intertwined with each other, and an extremely terrifying judgment saber intent erupted, colliding with the Yuan Frost godly sword. Light exploded, and saber lights swept in all directions. Under Wang Long's all-out counterattack, he finally blocked the Yuan Frost godly sword's sharp attack, turning the sword chi that filled the sky into nothingness. Wang Long's gaze was cold, and he hated Fengya to the extreme. He felt as if he had suffered a great humiliation, and the azurite saber in his hand mercilessly slashed towards Fengya. Fengya's clothes fluttered, and her entire body seemed to have become a part of the wind. Her figure was graceful, and she was extremely agile. After dodging Wang Long's attack, the Yuan Frost godly sword stabbed towards Wang Long's forehead. Fengya had the wind spirit constitution, and the green aura around her intertwined. Her entire body seemed incomparably ethereal, as if she had merged with heaven and earth, making her unfathomable. She knew that her cultivation was inferior to Wang Long's, so she could only try her best to use her advantage and unleash the power of the wind spirit constitution to tangle with Wang Long. Fengya didn't fight Wang Long head-on. Instead, she constantly dodged Wang Long's saber lights, causing Wang Long's expression to turn uglier and uglier. His attacks also became more and more ruthless. Boom! The world shook, and the aura around Wang Long skyrocketed to the extreme. He couldn't take down Fengya after attacking for a long time, and he seemed to have become a little impatient. Saber lights swept through the void, and the azurite saber instantly split into several afterimages, sealing off Fengya's path of retreat from all directions, and then slashing towards her. Wang Long wanted to force Fengya to fight him head-on. However, in his anxiety, Wang Long's saber techniques became a little messy, and a few tiny flaws appeared. A sharp light flashed in Fengya's eyes, and immediately, green light surrounded her body. Beams of sword chi pierced through the void, and she flew over. The Yuan Frost godly sword and Wang Long's azurite saber clashed, while she used her fingers like a sword, breaking through the flaw, and shot towards Wang Long's forehead. "You're courting death." There was no trace of panic on Wang Long's face. Instead, he sneered. Boom! Chaotic aura seemed to spread out around him, and his entire aura became incomparably mysterious. It was like a vast vortex, devouring Zhou Tian's power. At the same time, a chaos fist seal wrapped in monstrous divine power suddenly blasted towards Fengya. "I've been tricked." A thought flashed through Fengya's mind. She finally knew that the flaw just now was deliberately left behind by Wang Long. Chapter 1432. Wang Long was very scheming. Previously, Fengya had made him suffer a great loss. Naturally, he would not let it go so easily. Therefore, he beat Fengya at her own game. He purposely revealed a flaw and lured Fengya to attack. Then, he suddenly unleashed the power of the mixed elements unity chi and launched an extremely terrifying attack at Fengya. Boom! The mixed elements fist was extremely ferocious. It was as if it was going to destroy the void and suppress Fengya. The terrifying aura locked onto her, and there was no way for her to dodge. She could only take it head-on. A sharp light flashed in Fengya's eyes. Green divine power rose around her body. Her fair little hand directly turned into a palm knife. In an instant, a green blade light bloomed in her palm and welcomed Wang Long. Bang! That green blade light only lasted for a moment before it exploded. Wang Long's fist directly landed on Fengya's arm, and an extremely ferocious power erupted. Feng Ye groaned and spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face instantly turned extremely pale, and her entire body was sent flying. "Little Ya!" Yi Liangshan exclaimed. There was a hint of anxiety in his eyes. Ling Zhao's eyes could not help but darken. Although Feng Ye's talent was extraordinary, she was still lacking in combat experience. When she fought with Wang Long, her weakness immediately became obvious. If this continued, Feng Ye would definitely lose. Ling Zhao's eyes were a little worried. He was not afraid that Feng Ye would lose. He was just afraid that Feng Ye's personality was too stubborn and she would not admit defeat easily. If that happened, she would probably suffer. Boom! A terrifying aura erupted around Wang Long. His eyes were as cold as iron. The green blade instantly flew back to his hand. He stepped into the void and held the blade with both hands. Suddenly he slashed at Feng Ye. This slash was extremely terrifying. The will of judgment rose. Wang Long seemed to want to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens and judge all living things. The blade was extremely terrifying. Wang Long did not give Feng Ye any chance to react. This slash arrived in front of Feng Ye in the blink of an eye. Fuck, this Wang Long is courting death. He wants to kill little Ye. Yi Liangshan instantly flew into a rage. His eyes were filled with anger. Ling Zhao's eyes were filled with killing intent as well. Yi Liangshan was right. Ling Xiao could also feel a burning killing intent from Wang Long. Wang Long really wanted to kill him. Even though the generational tournament only required the participants to spar and not intentionally injure or kill their fellow disciples, the situation on the battlefield was ever-changing and anything could happen. In the past, there had been cases of disciples being severely injured. Clang. The Yuan Shuang sword also seemed to sense that its master was in danger. It also transformed into a white streak of light and blocked Wang Long's attack. A terrifying saber light burst out and slashed at the Yuan Frost Godly Sword. The Yuan Frost Godly Sword wailed and the runes exploded. It instantly dimmed. The Primal Frost Godly Sword was connected to Feng Ye's mind. With the Primal Frost Godly Sword heavily damaged, Feng Ye also suffered a backlash. She suddenly spat out another mouthful of blood, and her aura became even weaker. A sinister glint flashed across Wang Long's eyes as he swung the azurite saber in his hand. Instantly, half of Elegance's blue dress was torn apart, revealing her snow-white skin. "Junior sister Feng Ye, your figure is not bad. Why don't you follow me? If you're willing, I'll lose this battle to you." "So what?" Wang Long sneered with a flirtatious look. His eyes were extremely hot as he stared at Feng Ye. "Shameless." Feng Ye's face instantly flushed red, and her eyes were filled with shame and anger. Divine light shrouded her body, concealing her exposed skin. She was also incomparably furious with Wang Long. "Damn it, I can't take it anymore. Wang Long, you're courting death." Yi Liangshan instantly flew into a rage. His eyes were bloodshot and a terrifying murderous aura spread out from his body. He was about to charge into the deity battle arena. "Don't be rash. Let me do it." Ling Zhao's eyes were also extremely cold. He pulled Yi Liangshan and charged into the deity battle arena. "Long Outyen, this is the generational tournament. No one is allowed to cause trouble. If you dare to interfere, I'll disqualify you from the generational tournament." Lu Yan's figure flashed and instantly blocked Ling Zhao's path. He seemed to have expected Ling Xiao to make a move and sneered. "Get lost." Ling Zhao's eyes were extremely cold. There was even a trace of crazy killing intent. Lu Yan's heart trembled. However, he still sneered and said, "I advise you to behave. This is not a place where you can behave atrociously." Boom. While they were talking, Feng Ye was punched by Wang Long again. Her body flew out and the blood at the corner of her mouth was shocking. However, her eyes were becoming more and more stubborn and stubborn. "Xiao Ye, quickly admit defeat." Lord Xian and Yi Liangshan shouted anxiously. However, it was a pity that no sound could be heard in the deity battle arena. Unless Feng Ye was willing to admit defeat, she would have to continue fighting. "I won't lose," Feng Ye said seriously. However, her eyes became brighter and brighter. "Junior sister Feng Ye, why are you so stubborn? If you don't admit defeat, I won't go easy on you." Wang Long sneered. As Feng Ye continued to vomit blood, he seemed to have a perverted sense of pleasure in his heart. Torturing and killing such a beautiful girl satisfied Wang Long's perverted desire in his heart. Although he was talking, his attacks were extremely ruthless. The azurite saber shone with an unparalleled light as it slashed toward Feng Ye. Rays of saber light intertwined, forming a terrifying storm. Wang Long would not kill Feng Ye, but he wanted to use the saber in his hand to cut Feng Ye's clothes and expose her in front of all the disciples. It was as if this was the only way to wash away the humiliation in his heart. I will win, Feng Ye said seriously, but she also seemed to be talking to herself. Boom! An ancient and terrifying aura erupted from Feng Ye's body. Green divine light intertwined, and an incomparably terrifying storm seemed to appear behind her. The storm connected heaven and earth. It contained a vast and mysterious power that enveloped an area of tens of thousands of miles. At this moment, the aura of the primordial frost godly sword rose to its peak. Although Feng Ye's face was very pale, her hand holding the sword was still extremely firm. The primordial frost godly sword merged with the storm and suddenly slashed down toward Wang Long. This sword swept across 30,000 miles of mountains and rivers. This sword illuminated the endless sky. What? Wang Long's eyes revealed a trace of disbelief. This sword made his scalp tingle, and his body could not help but tremble. Retreat! 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 There was no way he could fight against it. He had to retreat from the range of this sword. Wang Long knew that Feng Ye must have used some kind of forbidden power. As long as he could dodge this sword, the final winner would definitely be him. Chapter 1433. Boom. It was as if heaven and earth had collapsed, and it was also as if the endless starry sky had shattered. Boundless divine light swept out in all directions, and Wang Long was sent flying. Blood spurted out from his mouth, and his clothes were all torn to shreds. Furthermore, there were countless bloody wounds all over his body. It was as if he had been dismembered. I admit defeat, Wang Long roared. His voice was trembling. He was completely terrified. He could not imagine how such a terrifying power had erupted from Feng Ye's body. It destroyed everything and formed a crushing advantage over him. He had no doubt that as long as Feng Ye slashed again, he would definitely die. Although he did not think that Feng Ye could slash again, he did not dare to take the risk. He was completely terrified. As Wang Long admitted defeat, his entire body was wrapped in a dazzling divine light, and he was teleported out of the sacred battle arena. Has the wind spirit constitution completely awakened? This price is a little too high, Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile. Lu Yan's mouth was wide open at this moment. His eyes were filled with disbelief, but he no longer had any reason to stop Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao flew directly to the sacred battle arena and carried Feng Ye out. After Feng Ye slashed with her sword, it was difficult for her to even stand up. If Ling Xiao had not caught her, she would have fallen from the void. Senior brother Long, I won. Feng Ye's face was pale without a trace of blood. She smiled weakly at Ling Xiao. Little Ye, you're so powerful. You won. Don't worry, leave that bastard to us. Ling Xiao looked at Feng Ye with some pity. Then he quickly took out 10 drops of holy liquid and fed it to Feng Ye. The holy liquid contained majestic and pure energy. It was even more effective than ordinary healing pills. With these 10 drops of holy liquid, Feng Ye's injuries should be able to recover very quickly. Yi Liangchen also ran over anxiously. When he saw that Feng Ye's aura had stabilized and there were no major problems, he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Big brother, I can't do anything. I'll leave that bastard Wang Long to you. Teach him a good lesson. Yi Liangchen gritted his teeth and said, Don't worry, I won't let him off. Ling Zhao's gaze was also extremely cold. If it was a normal competition, it would be fine. However, Wang Long actually dared to have designs on Feng Ye. He tore her clothes and humiliated her. Such a despicable and shameless action was simply courting death. Next, I will challenge Wang Long. Xian Wang said indifferently. Ling Xiao nodded. He knew that the Xian king was furious. Ever since entering Aries College, Fengya had been very obedient. Xian Wang also liked her very much and treated her like a younger sister. Now that he saw that Fengya had suffered such a great grievance, King Xian naturally wanted to help Fengya. Fengya had defeated Wang Long, and her ranking had reached the 98th place on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Naturally, Wang Long had fallen to the 620th place. Wang Long's eyes were filled with annoyance. If he hadn't been so scared that he immediately admitted defeat, he wouldn't have lost at all because Fengya didn't have the strength to continue fighting. Wang Long arrived in front of Lu Wu and said with an ugly expression, "Senior brother Lu, I didn't expect Fengya to be so strong." Wang Long was Lu Wu's subordinate. The reason why Wang Long treated Fengya like that was naturally because of Lu Wu's instructions. "It's fine. Rest well. Anyway, you still have 3 chances to challenge. When the time comes, you can challenge Fengya directly. She's not your opponent at all." Lu Wu's eyes flashed as he said indifferently. After Lu Wu was defeated by Ling Xiao, he seemed even more unfathomable. At this moment, no one could see Lu Wu's true cultivation level clearly. He was just like an ordinary person, without any fluctuation of divine power. After the generational competition, Ling Xiao and Lu Wu still had a life and death arranged battle. "Senior brother Lu, don't worry. I won't let that bitch off." Wang Long sneered, his expression incomparably ferocious. "Was it Lu Wu's instructions? You're really courting death." Ling Xiao's eyes revealed a trace of cold-killing intent. He also saw Wang Long and Lu Wu standing together and immediately understood the cause and effect. Wang Long and Fengya didn't have any grudges. If not for Lu Wu's instructions, he definitely wouldn't have dared to treat Fengya like that. "I'll go first." Ling Xiao changed his mind. Since Wang Long didn't know what was good for him and dared to interfere in the grudge between him and Lu Wu, he was really courting death. Xian Wang nodded. After Ling Xiao made his move, she could continue to challenge Wang Long. In short, she must make that bastard pay the price. Ling Xiao's figure flashed and instantly turned into a stream of light, landing on the deity battle arena. Long Outyen actually made his move? Who do you think he'll challenge? It should be one of the 9 great kings, right? After all, Lu Wu has already lost to him. I wonder how far Long Outyen can go. Do you think he'll directly challenge senior brother Tiangang? I don't think so, right? Challenging senior brother Tiangang, I'm afraid he's more likely to lose than win. He shouldn't be that stupid. When the crowd saw Ling Xiao jump onto the deity battle arena, they couldn't help but be shocked. From their point of view, although Ling Xiao wasn't one of the 9 great kings, he was destined to be one of the 9 great kings. Originally, it was the lower-ranked disciples who challenged him. Not to mention the 9 great kings, even the top 100 disciples rarely challenged him. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao would choose to challenge him at this time? Everyone was guessing who Ling Xiao would challenge, but without a doubt, it would definitely be one of the 9 great kings. Lu Wu's gaze also became a little deep as he looked at Ling Xiao, who was on the deity battle arena. On the other hand, Tiangang, Zhou Daoji, Lu Jingfeng, Wang Lin, and the others' eyes were filled with curiosity. This was the first time most of them had seen this junior brother of theirs. They were incomparably curious and wanted to see if Long Outyen was really that strong. "I want to challenge Wang Long," Ling Xiao said calmly as his gaze landed on Wang Long below. Everyone was stunned. Ling Xiao didn't challenge one of the 9 great kings, but Wang Long? However, they quickly reacted. Ling Xiao was probably going to avenge Fengya. However, was it really worth it to waste a slot? Although Wang Long wasn't Ling Xiao's match, as long as he immediately admitted defeat on the deity battle arena, Ling Xiao wouldn't be able to do anything to him. When Wang Long saw Ling Xiao's cold gaze, his heart couldn't help but tremble. He looked at Lu Wu for help. "Don't worry. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. When you enter the deity battle arena, just admit defeat." Lu Wu's eyes flashed as he said calmly. Wang Long nodded. Although his eyes were filled with reluctance, if he admitted defeat on the deity battle arena before he even made a move, he was afraid that he would really be laughed at by the crowd. However, if he was laughed at, then so be it. It was better than being taught a lesson by Ling Xiao. He didn't think that he was Ling Zhao's match. Thinking of this, Wang Long leaped onto the deity battle arena. Chapter 1434. One of the rules of the generational competition was that one had to admit defeat in the deity arena. If that wasn't the case, Wang Long would have chosen to admit defeat and not even enter the deity arena. He knew how powerful Lu Wu was. If even Lu Wu was defeated by Ling Xiao, he didn't think that he would be a match for Ling Xiao. Therefore, Wang Long made up his mind to admit defeat as soon as he entered the deity arena. Wang Long's body flashed, and he appeared in the deity arena. Wang Long opened his mouth and was about to admit defeat. However, a blazing fist shot through the air at an extremely fast speed. Moreover, there was an incomparably mysterious force pressing down on Wang Long, causing his thoughts to stop in an instant. Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably cold as he threw a punch at Wang Long. He used the secret teleportation technique and the Sutra of Time. The secret teleportation technique gave him extreme speed, and he appeared in front of Wang Long in an instant. The Sutra of Time stunned Wang Long for a moment. Ling Xiao didn't want Wang Long to admit defeat before he made his move. Therefore, Wang Long was in for a tragedy. Boom! Dazzling fist radiance bloomed, and Ling Zhao's fist landed on Wang Long's chin. A terrifying force exploded, and Wang Long's teeth were shattered. Blood and teeth flew out, and he screamed in pain. He didn't even have time to admit defeat before he was sent flying by Ling Xiao. This was also because Ling Xiao had shown mercy. Otherwise, with his terrifying physical strength, Wang Long's head would have been blown apart by Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao didn't want to kill Wang Long, but he wouldn't let him off so easily. Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably cold. After he succeeded in his attack, he immediately followed up. His entire body seemed to have turned into the sharpest weapon. Ling Zhao's slap came. Wang Long tried his best to block it, but his arm was instantly broken by Ling Xiao. That slap also landed on his face, causing his face to swell. Bang! Ling Zhao's knee hit Wang Long's abdomen. Wang Long felt as if he had been slammed by an ancient divine mountain. His internal organs were all twisted, and he unconsciously arched his body like a roasted prawn. Bile mixed with blood spurted out, and he felt as if all his strength had been sucked out. Rumble! Ling Zhao's gaze was incomparably cold. His arm lashed down like a divine whip, and Wang Long's back felt as if it had been struck by lightning. Furthermore, all the clothes on his body were torn apart at this moment. Boom! 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 In the next moment, Ling Xiao grabbed one of Wang Long's arms, swung him up, and smashed him onto the ground. Wang Long's body was like a giant hammer in Ling Zhao's hands, smashing one mountain after another. The earth quaked violently and the mountains shook. Magma even sprayed out from the mountains and many ancient trees burst into flames. Boom! 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 Outside the divine battle arena, everyone was scared silly. Wang Long was too pitiful. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched, and their hearts trembled violently with every smash of Wang Long's body. They looked at Ling Xiao with respect. Long Outyin was truly a ruthless person, and his strength was too terrifying. Wang Long and Long Outyin were both at the great circle of the heavenly god realm. However, Wang Long was like a little chick in Long Outyin's hands. He could not resist at all. Now, he was tortured to the point where he did not even look human anymore. All of this was because Wang Long had just humiliated Fengya. Originally, many of the senior disciples thought that Yap Liangchen and Fengya were lucky to be able to enter the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. Some of them were tempted to challenge Yap Liangchen and Fengya to see if they could take advantage of the situation. However, all of them dismissed that thought in their hearts. What a joke! Long Outyin was so protective. They did not want to end up like Wang Long. Well done. How dare this bastard bully Xiaoya? Yap Liangchen sneered. He could not wait to roll up his sleeves and fight Wang Long himself. This guy is really unlucky. How dare he provoke this malefic star? He must be tired of living. Black Donkey's eyes widened as he muttered softly. Principal, Long Outyin has humiliated his senior. This is not a normal competition. Are you not going to do anything about it? Lu Yan's face was extremely ugly as he spoke to Tong Yuan. Deputy Principal Lu, you are wrong. Although killing is prohibited in the generational competition, it is inevitable for young people to be hot-blooded and not know how to control their strength. Wang Long did not want to admit defeat. Who else can he blame? I don't think Long Outyin has broken the rules. Before Tong Yuan could speak, Han Li, who was sitting beside Tong Yuan, laughed lazily. Lu Yan was about to go crazy. He said furiously, Wang Long should have had the chance to admit defeat. Long Outyin is bullying others. He purposely did not let Wang Long admit defeat to humiliate him. Long Outyin is so vicious. How is he different from a demon? Ares College cannot accept such a disciple no matter how talented he is. Han Li sneered and said, Deputy Principal Lu, aren't you being biased? If Wang Long had not bullied a little girl, Long Outyin would not have been so ruthless to him. Furthermore, they are all great circle heavenly gods, but Wang Long could not even take one hit from Long Outyin. Such a useless disciple, it is only right to teach him a lesson. Han Li, you are protecting Long Outyin. Lu Yan said furiously. Yes, I admire Long Outyin. Can't I? Bite me if you dare. Han Li sneered and looked like a troublemaker. Lu Yan was so angry that he was trembling all over. Tong Yuan was having a headache. He quickly said, all right, stop fighting. Wang Long should be taught a lesson. However, he is in a terrible state now. Ask Long Outyin to stop. Tong Yuan had a deep impression of Ling Xiao. He was shocked that Ling Xiao could reach such a level in a short 3 years. At the same time, he was looking forward to it. After all, he was proud that Ares College could produce such a peerless genius. Rumble. At this moment, Ling Xiao, who was on the deity battle arena, kicked Wang Long after he had punched him hundreds of times. Wang Long screamed in pain as he fell from the sky. He smashed a human-shaped hole in the ground. He was in a terrible state. There was not a spot on his body that was not injured. His whole body was swollen like a pig's head. He was naked from head to toe. Even tears were coming out of his eyes. Many female disciples couldn't help but blush when they saw Wang Long's appearance and secretly spat. I feel good. Ling Xiao took a deep breath and kicked Wang Long, who was like a dead pig, out of the deity battle arena. He then strode out of the deity battle arena. Even the referee elder of the deity battle arena was dumbfounded. He even forgot to announce the result of the battle. Chapter 1435. Big brother, this Long Outyin is too vicious. He's vicious and merciless. He's not a good person. Are you sure you can win the death match with him later? When Lu Wenqing saw Wang Long's miserable state, he couldn't help but tremble with fear. He gnashed his teeth and said, Lu Wu's eyes were as dark as a ghost fire. He said indifferently, don't worry, he's dead for sure. Lu Wenqing nodded and stopped talking. He didn't know why, but he felt that his big brother's body had become incomparably cold. He couldn't help but feel his heart palpitate. As the generational competition progressed, the battles between the disciples became more intense. There were even disciples in the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking who started to challenge each other. However, everyone's attention was focused on Long Outyin and Tian Gang. They were all guessing that there would be a battle between the two of them, but no one knew who would emerge victorious. Junior sister Xian Wang, are you not going to fight? Ling Xiao asked curiously when he saw that Xian Wang was still not doing anything. Xian Wang looked at Wang Long and shook her head. Wait a little longer. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly when he saw Xian Wang's reaction. Women are really vengeful. Even though Ling Xiao had taught Wang Long a lesson, Xian Wang still didn't intend to let him go. Wang Long was destined to suffer. Xian Wang didn't fight because she was waiting for Wang Long to recover. Every disciple who participated in the generational competition was given an hour to rest after a battle. During this time, other disciples couldn't challenge them. Ling Xiao could see that Xian Wang still wanted to challenge Wang Long. I'm Yuan Qingqing. I would like to challenge senior brother Black Tortoise, who is ranked 9th on the Hidden Dragon ranking. At this moment, a voice rang out in the deity battle arena, attracting everyone's attention. A man in a green robe, who looked extraordinarily handsome and had an otherworldly temperament, cupped his hands and bowed to the crowd with a faint smile on his face. It's Yuan Qingcheng, who is ranked 36th on the Hidden Dragon ranking. He wants to challenge senior brother Black Tortoise? Everyone was shocked and looked at Yuan Qingcheng in surprise. Finally, someone had challenged one of the 9 great kings. In every jiaji competition, apart from the top 100 of the Hidden Dragon ranking, the competition between the 9 kings was the most intense. Yuan Qingcheng is strong, but where did he get the confidence to challenge senior brother Lu Wu? Who knows? Maybe Yuan Qingcheng heard that Lu Wu was defeated by Long Outyin and thought that Lu Wu was weak, so he wanted to bully him. Everyone was discussing fervently, but they were already close to the truth. Yuan Qingcheng hadn't seen the battle between Ling Xiao and Lu Wu, so he didn't think that a new disciple who had only been in the sect for 3 years could be that strong. Therefore, in his opinion, it was definitely because Lu Wu's strength was too weak that he was defeated by Ling Xiao. Although Yuan Qingcheng smiled faintly, his eyes were full of excitement. Perhaps he could pull Lu Wu down from his position as one of the 9 kings and reach the top in one fell swoop. In Aries College, the 9 great kings represented supreme status and glory. A sharp light flashed in Lu Wu's eyes. He glanced at Yuan Qingcheng indifferently and did not say anything. Then he leaped onto the deity battle arena. You want to challenge me? Make your move. Lu Wu said calmly. Senior Lu, I'm sorry. Yuan Qingcheng saluted Lu Wu with his fists folded. His eyes were filled with a strong desire to fight. Boom. He was surrounded by blazing lightning that shook the void. He clenched his fist, and suddenly, a thick thunderbolt fell from the sky like a heavenly pillar and coiled around his body like a divine dragon. He threw a punch at Lu Wu. The blazing lightning was unparalleled and contained an incomparably vast fluctuation of power. 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique. Moreover, Yuan Qingcheng had already cultivated the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique to the Great Completion realm. His attack was so powerful that even the top 100 disciples on the Hidden Dragon list could not help but stare at him. With the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit Technique at the Great Completion realm, Yuan Qingcheng had the strength to be ranked among the 9 great kings. The 9 great unique techniques of Aries College were extremely powerful, but it was difficult to cultivate them to the Great Completion realm. The difference between the 9 great kings and ordinary celestial gods was the degree of understanding of the 9 great unique techniques. No wonder Yuan Qingcheng dared to challenge Lu Wu. Lu Wu's expression was still calm, as if he had not seen Yuan Qingcheng's punch at all. Boom! The blazing lightning enveloped the void, as if it was going to drown Lu Wu. Lu Wu also moved. A cold and sharp divine light flashed in his eyes, like an unmeltable iceberg, reflecting an indifferent aura. He raised his hand, and suddenly, a blazing sword light soared across the sky, as if it was thousands of miles away. It was extremely bright and exuded an immortal and indestructible sword intent. The Great Wilderness Sword Principle. However, what shocked the crowd the most was not the Great Wilderness Sword Principle, but the vast and terrifying aura that Lu Wu exuded. It was as if the surrounding heaven and earth had submitted to him. At this moment, the crowd was shocked to find that Lu Wu's aura had reached the Divine King realm. A Divine King. There was a huge gap between the Divine King realm and the Celestial God realm. Therefore, when Lu Wu used the Great Wilderness Sword Principle with his Divine King realm cultivation, the power of this sword seemed to surpass everything, as if it was going to annihilate all living things in time. What? Yuan Qingcheng's expression changed dramatically. He felt a cold, killing intent that made his scalp tingle rapidly approaching him. He had been full of confidence and wanted to fight with Lu Wu. He wanted to defeat Lu Wu in this battle and become one of the 9 great kings. However, this sword strike had shattered all of his confidence into smithereens. There was only one thought in his mind. If he did not run, he would probably die under this sword strike. Boom! The lightning bolts that filled the sky were annihilated by the sword light, and one of Yuan Qingcheng's arms exploded into a mist of blood. The terrifying sword light pierced through the void and finally exploded on Yuan Qingcheng's chest, leaving a huge bloody hole. Yuan Qingcheng spat out a mouthful of blood, and his eyes were filled with horror. Lu Wu's cold eyes made him feel the danger of death, so he immediately shouted, "I admit defeat." Boom. The moment Yuan Qingqing shouted, the sword light that had already arrived in front of him shattered and turned into a dazzling rain of light. Yuan Qingqing was directly sent out of the divine battle arena. Chapter 1436. Divine King. Senior brother Lu Wu broke through to the Divine King realm? He's probably the first person to break through to the Divine King realm in Aries College. Someone exclaimed, his body trembling, his eyes filled with disbelief. Even the most talented Big Dipper senior brother was still in the great circle of the heavenly god realm. However, Lu Wu had already broken through to the God King realm. 2 months ago, Lu Wu had just been defeated by Long Outyin. Many people even doubted Lu Wu's strength. However, after he revealed his God King cultivation, everyone immediately shut their mouths. On the divine battle arena, Lu Wu defeated Yuan Qingqing with a single strike. Even the other kings, including Zhou Daoji, Lu Jingfeng, Wang Lin, and the others, had serious expressions on their faces. Originally, Lu Wu's strength had been on par with theirs, but after Lu Wu broke through to the Divine King realm, they knew that Lu Wu's strength had surpassed theirs. They were even thinking that even big senior brother Big Dipper might not be Lu Wu's match, right? After all, the gap between a great circle celestial and a divine king was too great. Tiangang's eyes were blazing as he looked at Lu Wu with a strong desire to battle. To Tiangang, ranking was no longer important. He had been invincible in Aries College for too long, and finding an opponent that could excite him was more important than anything else. Previously, he had thought that Long Outyin might be his match, but now, he had his eyes on Lu Wu. Divine King Realm? Interesting. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed, and he felt some respect for Lu Wu. 2 months ago, after Lu Wu had been defeated by Ling Xiao, he had not been unable to recover. Instead, he had taken advantage of the situation to break through to the Divine King Realm. It could be said that Lu Wu now had the strength to defeat all the other disciples. Is he really a divine king? This time, Aries College should be able to enter the top 10 in the academy tournament. With Lu Wu's strength, it's not impossible for him to enter the top 3. Although Ji Guiyuan was surprised, he was more pleased and happy. The academy tournament was incomparably cruel, and the competition was extremely intense. Every single one of the top 10 was a God King powerhouse. That was a battle between the young geniuses of the 10 great heavens. It represented the pinnacle of the divine realm. It was an unimaginable event. Originally, Ji Guiyuan didn't have much hope for the academy tournament, but after seeing Lu Wu, he began to look forward to it. This guy has silently broken through to the Divine King realm. Looks like he really knows how to be brave after being humiliated. However, to be able to pass the godly king tribulation in a little over 2 months without borrowing the power of the academy, it is indeed commendable. Han Li nodded his head as a look of admiration appeared in his eyes. At this moment, everyone looked at Lu Wu with eyes filled with reverence. Although he had been defeated 2 months ago, he had used his own cultivation to tell everyone that he was still a king who stood at the peak. No one could challenge his position. I heard that Long Outyin and Lu Wu have agreed to a life-and-death duel. I'm afraid Long Outyin is regretting it now, right? Everyone glanced at Ling Xiao in unison. Without a doubt, they all believed that Ling Xiao was no match for Lu Wu at this moment. Are you feeling pressured? Xian Wang glanced at Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and said, being able to break through to the Divine King realm is not bad, but he still has to die. Ling Xiao's voice was very calm, but it contained a powerful fluctuation of confidence. Xian Wang nodded her head. Since Ling Xiao was so confident, she naturally wouldn't be too worried. I'm going to make my move, Xian Wang said calmly, then leaped onto the stage. Xian Wang's white robes fluttered in the wind. She was tall and had an otherworldly temperament. Her face was beautiful, and she looked like a peerless beauty. It was as if she was an empress overseeing the 9 heavens. She had a different kind of majesty. The moment she appeared, everyone's eyes lit up. It's junior sister Xian Wang from Long Outyen's side. As expected, She's a peerless beauty with an extraordinary temperament. It seems like she's even better than senior sister Min Ro. Shu, do you want to die? Senior sister Min Ro is up there. If she hears you, you're done for. Full circle of the heavenly god realm cultivation. I wonder how far this junior sister Xian Wang can go. I think she'll be at least in the top 100 of the hidden dragon leaderboard. Probably around 50. Everyone was discussing fervently, especially the male disciples. Their eyes were all shining as they stared at Xian Wang. As for the female disciples of Aries College, they were also incomparably stunned. After looking at Xian Wang, they actually felt ashamed of their inferiority. I want to challenge senior brother Wang Long. Xian Wang said faintly. As soon as she finished speaking, Wang Long, who was standing beside Lu Wu, instantly turned green. Previously, he had been beaten up extremely miserably by Ling Xiao, practically leaving behind a shadow in his heart. It had not been easy for him to recover from all his injuries, and before he had even thought about who he wanted to challenge, the Xian King had actually named him to challenge. Wang Long's heart instantly burned with anger. Fuck, everyone thought he was a pushover and wanted to pinch him. Ling Xiao's strength was indeed very strong. He didn't even have a chance to counterattack. However, he didn't believe that Xian Wang was also so strong. At the very least, if he couldn't win, he had a chance to admit defeat. Everyone was also dumbfounded. Originally, they thought that Wang Long being taught a lesson by Ling Xiao was enough. However, they didn't expect that Xian Wang beside him also had her eyes on Wang Long. Wang Long replaced Ling Xiao's hidden dragon leaderboard ranking at 8,601st. As for the Xian King, he was ranked 8,603. Therefore, Wang Long had no way to reject Xian Wang's challenge. Xian Wang stepped onto the divine battle arena gloomily. Junior sister Xian Wang, please. Xian Wang cupped her hands toward Xian Wang. At the same time, her eyes were filled with incomparable vigilance. She planned to admit defeat immediately if anything went wrong. Xian Wang's gaze was indifferent and her expression was calm. She didn't say a word. Wang Long felt that it was a little strange. However, before he could react, he instantly heard a loud bang. His head was hit by some kind of heavy blow. Instantly, his vision turned black as if he was about to faint. It was unknown when the Xian King had appeared behind Wang Long. Then he slapped his palm onto Wang Long's head. A terrifying power exploded out, causing Wang Long to feel dizzy. He was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood. It turned out that the Xian Wang he saw was only an afterimage. Xian Wang had already hidden in the dark the moment he entered the divine battle arena and gave him a thunderous blow. Chapter 1437. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Xian Wang's white robes fluttered in the wind. Her slender fingers glowed with a mysterious light. Her hands shot out dozens of beams of light. Taking advantage of Wang Long's dizziness, she shot them into Wang Long's vital acupoints. Boom! The terrifying divine energy entered Wang Long's body and circulated throughout his body. It even began to seal his meridians and the small world in his body. This was the power of the mysterious finger. Furthermore, Xian Wang had already cultivated the mysterious finger to the greater mastery stage. Under her sudden attack, Wang Long was unable to resist at all and was imprisoned by Xian Wang. To prevent Wang Long from admitting defeat, Xian Wang even pierced her finger through his Adam's apple and destroyed his vocal cords, temporarily turning him into a mute. Although this kind of injury was nothing to a heavenly god and could be recovered quickly, it was enough for Xian Wang to teach Wang Long a lesson. Boom, boom, boom. Xian Wang's eyes were indifferent. Her body turned into a series of afterimages in the void. Her speed was extremely fast. Her attacks were also extremely fast. Every attack landed on Wang Long's body. It was like kicking a rubber ball, unleashing a torrential storm of attacks on Wang Long. Everyone watched as Wang Long was beaten into a pig's head by Xian Wang. However, he couldn't even let out a scream. It was extremely miserable. As expected, you can't provoke women. They are simply too terrifying when they are ruthless. Many disciples felt a chill down their backs as they laughed bitterly. At this moment, They even began to sympathize with Wang Long. Just because Wang Long bullied Feng Ye, he was beaten up by Long Outqian. Now he was beaten up by Xian Wang. It would probably leave a shadow in Wang Long's heart for the rest of his life. If he couldn't overcome it, the perfected heavenly god stage would be his limit. He wouldn't be able to break through to the godly king stage at all. Well done! Yi Liangchen and the black donkey echoed each other. Their faces were filled with incomparable arrogance. This isn't very good, is it? Feng Ye laughed bitterly. She was also very angry at Wang Long's actions. However, after seeing Ling Xiao and Xian Wang teach Wang Long a lesson, she began to sympathize with Wang Long. Xiao Ye, this is what he deserves. You'll understand when you roam the god realm in the future. You must be ruthless to your enemies. Otherwise, you'll be the one getting hurt. Bai Susu, who had been calm all this while, suddenly glanced at Feng Ye and slowly said, "Yes. Thank you for your guidance, Sister Bai." Feng Ye nodded seriously. On the divine battle arena, Xian Wang also taught Wang Long a lesson before kicking him out of the divine battle arena. Many of the male disciples were even a little confused. It was hard for them to connect the decisive and heroic figure in front of them with the peerless beauty in their hearts. The contrast was simply too great. This time, Wang Long didn't wake up and directly fainted. Half of it was because he was beaten half to death by the Xian King, and the other half was because he fainted from anger. At this moment, the gazes everyone shot at Ling Xiao and the Xian King had changed. They suddenly noticed that it wasn't just Ling Xiao's strength that was extremely formidable. Even the Xian King faintly had the potential to enter the ranks of the 9 kings. This was extremely terrifying. A new disciple who had just entered Ares College for 3 years actually had the strength to crush those geniuses who had cultivated for hundreds of years. This was shocking and unbelievable. I want to challenge Senior Chu Yunfan. The Xian King didn't leave the divine battle arena. Instead, she chose to continue. However, her second challenge target was Chu Yunfei's brother, Chu Yunfan, who was ranked 10th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. She actually wants to challenge Chu Yunfan directly? Does junior sister Xian King really want to rush into the top 10 of the Hidden Dragon leaderboard in one go? Everyone's spirits were lifted. Although Chu Yunfan was ranked 10th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, in the eyes of everyone, he wasn't much different from the 9 kings. His strength was extremely close. If the Xian King really defeated Chu Yunfan, then perhaps she really did have the strength of one of the 9 kings. Chu Yunfan's eyes also revealed a trace of sharpness. He glanced indifferently at the Xian King and leaped onto the divine battle arena. "Junior sister Xian King, you're not my match," Chu Yunfan said indifferently. "Whether I'm your match or not, we'll only know after we fight." The Xian King's eyes flashed sharply. Her slender jade-like fingers emitted a dazzling light, and a few invisible divine lights instantly shot towards Chu Yunfan. The dark Yin finger contained the power of extreme Yin. It was known as the Hand of Death, and it contained the power of death and extreme cold. It was extremely domineering and could take away one's life force and freeze all things. The dark Yin finger seemed to be very compatible with the Xian King's physique. Therefore, she had only cultivated the dark Yin finger for a few short years, and she had already cultivated it to the great accomplishment stage. Those invisible divine lights contained an extremely terrifying aura. They were bone-chilling cold, and they shot towards Chu Yunfan's forehead, heart, dantian, and several other vital points. Boom! Chu Yunfan's eyes flashed coldly. Blazing lightning surrounded his body. He had also cultivated the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique to the great accomplishment stage. Streaks of 5 elements divine lightning fell from the sky and collided with the dark Yin finger. Rumble! Dazzling light flashed, and an extremely intense battle instantly erupted between the Xian King and Chu Yunfan. The dark Yin finger and the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique clashed. Extreme cold divine energy and destructive lightning exploded, causing the void to tremble and the earth to shake. Chu Yunfan had not only cultivated the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique to the great accomplishment stage, but he was also proficient in the mixed element unity chi. He could attack and defend at the same time, and his strength was extremely strong. The Xian King and Chu Yunfan fought fiercely for more than 100 rounds, but there was still no clear victor. Moreover, the battle between them was getting more and more intense. The Xian King's speed was extremely fast, and it was as if she could merge into the void. Her aura was ethereal and untraceable, making it difficult for others to track her. When Chu Yunfan was fighting with the Xian King, he actually felt very frustrated. It was as if his entire body was tied up, and he was unable to lock onto the Xian King's position at all. Every time, he could only passively resist and block. Kill! After a few hundred rounds, the Xian King's aura had also risen to the extreme. She let out a soft roar, and mysterious purple light seemed to fly out of her eyes. It contained an incomparably ancient and majestic aura, and it caused the void to tremble slightly. The two purple lights were like two true dragons, and they exuded a majestic imperial aura. They intertwined with each other and instantly turned into a dazzling sword light that slashed towards Chu Yunfan. This sword was grand and majestic, and it was like the sword of the emperor. It controlled the heavens and the earth, and it controlled the sun, the moon, and the stars. It was incomparably terrifying. This is the embryonic form of the holy path? Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. He actually discovered that the Xian King's sword already had the aura of the holy path, just like Dugu Qiubai's sword. Could it be that the Xian King had already found her own holy path? That trace of holy path aura was extremely weak, but it was still sensed by Tong Yuan, Han Li, and the others. This caused their expressions to change drastically, and they were incomparably ecstatic. Boom! The dazzling lightning was annihilated, and even the mixed element unity qi on Chu Yunfan's body exploded. The Xian King's sword directly sent Chu Yunfan flying, and he coughed up blood continuously. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Chapter 1438. The blazing sword light illuminated the void, making Xian Wang look like an invincible empress. Chu Yunfan, who was incomparably powerful, was like a piece of paper in front of this sword. He was instantly heavily injured. Blood spurted out of Chu Yunfan's mouth as he fell to the ground. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He had wanted to become one of the 9 great kings, but he did not expect to be defeated by an unknown Xian Wang. Before Chu Yunfan could get up, the cold sword qi was already in front of him. Xian Wang held an ancient sword qi in her hand. Her white robe fluttered in the wind. Although her face was slightly pale, her eyes were still cold and indifferent. "You have lost," Xian Wang said flatly. Although Chu Yunfan didn't want to give up, he could tell that even though Xian Wang was strong, she could only use that terrifying sword attack once. Xian Wang was just pretending to be strong. However, he did not dare to take the risk. He knew that if he did not admit defeat, Xian Wang would not hesitate to stab him with the sword qi. "I have lost." Chu Yunfan gritted his teeth so hard that his teeth were almost broken. He was unwilling to admit defeat. He was surrounded by a dazzling sword qi and was sent out of the sacred battlefield. Xian Wang had replaced Chu Yunfan's original ranking and entered the 10th place on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. So powerful! Is junior sister Xian Wang the reincarnation of an ancient almighty? This kind of talent is too terrifying. Even senior Chu Yunfan was defeated by her. That sword qi looked like the legendary sword of divine path. Could it be that junior sister Xian Wang has comprehended the true meaning of divine path? Everyone was shocked and could not calm down for a long time. Tiangang, Zhou Doji, and the others all looked at Xian Wang with a serious expression. "Elder senior brother, that sword qi did contain the embryonic path," Zhou Daoji said to Tiangang after a moment of silence. "The embryonic path? Looks like we were wrong. Junior sister Xian Wang is more talented than Long Outyin and Lu Wu." Tiangang sighed emotionally. He originally thought that Long Outyin and Lu Wu would be his formidable opponents, but once the Xian King appeared, it immediately made him start to take them seriously. After all, there were plenty of veteran god kings who would not necessarily be able to find their own path of saints even when they reached the end of their lives. Even legendary supreme geniuses would only be able to touch a sliver of the power of saints after reaching great perfection as a god king. On the other hand, the Xian king was only at the peak of the heavenly god realm, yet he had already touched upon the embryonic form of the Saint Tao. Perhaps even the holy sons and holy daughters of the 12 immortal holy lands, or even the legendary princes and princesses, could not compare to such talent. However, Tiangang could also see that Xian Wang was still unable to master the sword of Saint Tao. Otherwise, she would have been able to easily defeat Chu Yunfan. Xian Wang calmly put away his divine sword, turned around, and flew down from the divine battle arena. Junior sister Xian Wang, I didn't expect you to have comprehended the sword of Holy Tao. No wonder you weren't interested in the 9 ultimate techniques of Aries College. You've already walked your own path. Ling Xiao took a deep look at Xian Wang and smiled. He suddenly realized that Xian Wang's body was shrouded in a mysterious mist, as if she was hiding countless secrets. Ling Xiao began to wonder if Xian Wang, Ji Feishuan, was really the princess of the great Zhou divine nation. She was just a princess, but her radiance was too dazzling. I was just lucky. I'm still a far cry from Senior Dugu. Next, I would like to challenge Senior Brother Zhou Doji. Lord Xian smiled as he looked at Zhou Doji from afar. Oh, why not Senior Brother Tungeng? Ling Xiao asked curiously. Xian Wang had already comprehended the embryonic form of the Saint Tao. She could even challenge Tiangang. Senior Brother Zhou Doji cultivates the great barren way of the sword. I've heard that he is extremely talented in the way of the sword. Back then, he was almost taken over by the Sky Sword Academy. Senior Brother Tiangang is your target. I won't fight with you. The Xian King smiled at Ling Xiao. Her peerless beauty made the world lose its color in an instant. All right. Ling Xiao rubbed his nose and accepted Xian Wang's words. Xian Wang's defeat of Chu Yunfan seemed to have inspired many disciples. Soon, another wave of challenges began. My name is Wang Zheng. I would like to challenge Senior Brother Lu Zhengfeng. A young man in a black robe stepped onto the stage. Wang Zheng was ranked 58th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. Lu Zhengfeng was ranked 8th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard, Heavenly King Fun. The gap between them was huge. However, Wang Zheng's face was filled with confidence. Boom! After Lu Zhengfeng stepped onto the stage, the two of them engaged in a fierce battle after a short exchange of pleasantries. Wang Zheng cultivated the 7 forms of judgment. His saber skills were unparalleled. His understanding of the 7 forms of judgment had reached a higher level. Every saber strike was as powerful as the Milky Way. Lu Zhengfeng, on the other hand, was well versed in the burning sky halberd technique. His body was surrounded by the law of fire. When he attacked, it was as if he had transformed into a god of war. The two of them fought for more than 100 rounds, which was a feast for the eyes of everyone. Their eyes were filled with incomparable amazement. However, although Wang Zheng's 7 forms of judgment was strong, he was still defeated by Lu Zhengfeng's burning sky halberd technique. After Wang Zheng was defeated, everyone became a little more clear-headed. It seemed like not everyone was Long Outyen, and not everyone was a Xian king. Although there were still a few people who challenged the 9 great kings, they were all defeated in the end. Especially Feng Lei, who was ranked 36th on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. He wanted to challenge the Thunder King Deng Gongjue, who was ranked 7th. However, he was severely injured by Deng Gongjue's 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique. After experiencing consecutive defeats, everyone recognized a fact. The combat power of the 9 great kings was extremely terrifying. Even if they were in the same realm, the gap between them was not so easy to make up for. Perhaps, only people who were also 9 great kings could fight each other. Junior sister Wang Lin, why don't we have a spar? Suddenly Min Ro, who was dressed in a fluttering white dress, stood out and smiled faintly at Wang Lin. Junior sister Min Ro, are you challenging me? You lost to me by 1 move in the last generational competition. Are you trying to take revenge? Wang Lin's eyes flashed as she said faintly. The two of them flew directly onto the stage. Moreover, their conversation was like a needle hidden in silk floss. Chapter 1439. Everyone knew that Wang Lin and Min Ro liked Big Dipper's senior brother. As rivals in love, Wang Lin and Min Ro were naturally at odds with each other. Especially in the previous generational competition, Wang Lin had defeated Min Ro and was ranked 3rd on the Hidden Dragon list. Min Ro was only ranked 4th. Wang Lin was unhappy and wanted to get back at Min Ro. Both Wang Lin and Min Ro were very headstrong. Neither of them was willing to lower their heads and call the other senior sister. Junior sister Wang Lin, you must be joking. We are all senior sisters. What hatred is there? I just want to see junior sister Wang Lin's mixed yuan qi. Min Ro smiled faintly. Wang Lin was the king of mixed yuan qi. Legend had it that she was about to reach the great perfection realm. As for Min Ro, she was the king of mysterious yin. Naturally, she was proficient in the mysterious yin finger. Then let's do it. Wang Lin said faintly. Her eyes were filled with sharpness. Rumble. An intense battle broke out between Wang Lin and Min Ro. The mixed yuan qi and the mysterious yin finger intertwined and released terrifying energy waves. Wang Lin was full of heroism while Min Ro was charming. The battle between the two of them was very enjoyable for the disciples of Aries College. She is indeed the king of mixed yuan qi. She has already reached the great perfection realm? A sharp light flashed in Ling Zhao's eyes as he slowly said. Although Wang Lin was a woman, her attacks were as decisive as lightning. Every attack contained the power to split the heavens and earth. She was surrounded by a chaotic fog. Streaks of energy intertwined and the mysterious yellow qi gathered on Wang Lin's body, allowing her to release powerful combat strength. It was very difficult to reach the great perfection realm in the 9 ultimate techniques of Aries College. However, as long as one could reach the great perfection realm, they would have the combat strength to fight against a god king. Therefore, Wang Lin was very powerful now. Even an ordinary god king would not be her match. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Min Ro's body was ethereal like a fairy. She had a faint smile on her face, but her 10 fingers were like divine swords, shooting out rays of cold light. 10 streaks of black divine light pierced through the void like a vast river. They were imbued with the power to pierce through all things, and they enshrouded Wang Lin's entire body. Min Ro's dark yin finger had also been cultivated to perfection. Both of them had only cultivated a single ultimate technique, so they did not divert their attention to other martial arts. However, their attacks were extremely swift and fierce. Every strike erupted with extremely scorching ripples of divine light. Rumble. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin and Min Ro had exchanged hundreds of blows. At the same time, the other kings could no longer hold back and began to challenge each other. The 8th ranked on the Hidden Dragon ranking, Blazing King Lu Jingfeng, challenged the 5th-ranked Radiant King Lu Huan. Deng Gangjue, the King of Thunder, chose to challenge Zhou Doji. As for the King of Judgment, Li Mu's gaze fell on eldest senior brother Tiangang. Everyone became more and more excited. Almost everyone's attention fell on the 9 great kings. Over the years, the Battle of the 9 Great Kings was also the most anticipated event. However, Lu Wu did not choose to attack. He only stood there calmly with a deep gaze. No one knew what he was thinking. He did not attack, and no one dared to challenge him. The Battle of the 9 Great Kings was extremely intense. Moreover, the 9 of them knew each other's strength very well. In name, they were challenging each other, but in reality, they were just learning from each other. For the 9 great kings, unless they could defeat eldest senior brother Tiangang and climb to the top of the Hidden Dragon ranking, it did not matter whether they were ranked 2nd or 9th. The battle between Wang Lin and Min Ro was the first to end. Although Min Ro's dark yin finger was powerful, it was still defeated by Wang Lin's mixed element spirit. After thousands of blows, she was defeated by Wang Lin. Blazing King Lu Jingfeng's Blazing Sky Halberd technique was extremely powerful. It fought fiercely with Lu Huan's light seal. The halberd and fist shadows intertwined in the void, and the divine light was dazzling. Lu Jingfeng became braver and braver as the battle went on. In the end, he defeated Lu Huan with his Blazing Sky Halberd technique and won the 5th place. Deng Gangjue, the King of Thunder, was very arrogant. Among the 9 great kings, he only took Tiangang seriously. He did not even take Zhou Daoji seriously. This was because he had mastered the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique. Among the 9 great skills, the 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique was one of the most difficult skills to master. It was only second to the Immortal Body and the Great Barren Sword Art. Therefore, the battle between him and Zhou Douji was the most intense. The 5 Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique versus the Great Barren Sword Art. In Ling Zhao's eyes, Zhou Daoji's Great Barren Sword Art was even more mysterious. It was as if it was in harmony with the heavens. It was as if the Tao was natural and flexible. It was able to disperse all the lightning in the sky. Junior sister Xian Wang, do you have the confidence to defeat Zhou Daoji? His Great Barren Sword Art is even more powerful than Lu Wu's. He has reached the greater completion realm. Ling Zhao's eyes revealed a trace of depth. Lu Wu's Great Desolate Sword Tao was actually only at the small success stage. This was because Lu Wu was most proficient in the 5 divine mountain palms. It was only because Lu Wu had obtained the inheritance of the Age of Time that the power of the Great Desolate Sword Tao had soared. However, in terms of Great Barren Sword Art, Lu Wu was no match for Zhou Daoji. It doesn't matter if I can win or not. I know that my battle with Zhou Douji will not disappoint me. The Xian King's eyes flashed with anticipation. She had a feeling that if she could fight with Zhou Douji, her sword of the Holy Path would be perfected. In the end, Deng Gongjue was defeated by Zhou Douji. What was even more shocking was that the King of Adjudication, Li Mu, had used the 7 strokes of adjudication to fight with Tiangang. He had used 7 strokes in a row, and each stroke was so powerful that it seemed as if it could split the sky open. However, Tiangang had only used 1 punch. After that punch, the sky was clear and the earth was shaking. What a terrifying punch! Ling Xiao narrowed his eyes. He could feel that the punch that Tiangang used to defeat Li Mu was pure physical strength. Inside Tiangang's body, which was filled with explosive power, there seemed to be an immortal glow. His indestructible battle flesh has most likely reached the 5th level of the triple deity transformation realm. Ling Xiao thought to himself as he stared at Tiangang. Tiangang's qi and blood were like a rainbow. His body was like a furnace, and there was a mysterious roar of a dragon coming from inside his body. That terrifying physical strength had to be the 5th level of the immortal body. I am looking forward to it. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed with a strong desire to fight. Chapter 1440. Big Brother Tiangang is too powerful. That's the King of Judiciary, Li Mu. He defeated him with 1 punch. I really can't think of anyone who can defeat Big Brother Tiangang. Long Outyan and Lu Wu can't defeat him. Big Brother Tiangang is the best. After Tiangang defeated the King of Judiciary, Li Mu, with 1 punch, the students of Ares College went into a frenzy. Their eyes were filled with excitement. That punch was like a peerless celestial emperor who had suppressed the ancient times, but also like a saint who had enlightened all living beings. It contained an immortal fist wave that was deeply imprinted in the hearts of everyone in Ares College. At that moment, everyone's confidence in Tiangang was restored. He was still that peerless and invincible big senior brother Big Dipper who was revered by all. The first battle of the 9 great kings had ended. However, everyone had 3 chances to challenge each other. Perhaps this was just the beginning. Zhou Daoji, Deng Gongjue, and the others all had a serious look on their faces when they saw how Tiangang defeated Li Mu with a single punch. Wang Lin and Min Ro looked at Tiangang with a gentle gaze. This was the man they had fallen for, the man who was invincible like a god. At that moment, Xian Wang flew up to the deity battle arena in her white robe. Xian Wang, I challenge brother Zhou Douji. The Xian King's voice was very cold, but it caused everyone to be stunned. They had all seen Xian Wang's power. Even Chu Yunfan had been defeated by her. Xian Wang had also successfully made it to the 10th place on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. The 10th place on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard was within reach of the 9 great kings, but there was still a long way to go. That bitch, does she really think she can defeat brother Zhou Daoji? Chu Yunfei's expression was very ugly as he coldly said, "It's hard to say. She has the sword of Holy Path, But if brother Zhou Daoji can block her attack, I'm afraid she won't be able to fight anymore. Chu Yunfan's eyes lit up as he said slowly. Zhou Daoji paused for a moment, then nodded and flew up to the deity battle arena. Sister Xianwang, you've only been in Aries College for 3 years, and you've already reached such a level. I'm really ashamed of myself. Besides, you've already mastered the holy path. As long as you keep working hard, you'll be able to reach the holy path. Zhou Daoji said with a smile. He looked like an elegant gentleman with a sincere smile on his face. It was easy for people to like him. Thank you, brother. Xianwang said quietly. Zhou Daoji continued. Sister Xianwang, I've seen your sword of holy path. Your sword of the holy path. Senior brother, please. Xianwang said. You and I will each make a move and we'll decide the victor with one move. Whoever takes a step back first will be the loser. How about it? Zhou Daoji smiled. You. Zhou Daoji smiled. Xianwang nodded. Okay. Xianwang nodded. She wasn't an unreasonable person. Since Zhou Daoji had made his decision, she wouldn't go against it. Boom. A mysterious energy burst out from Xianwang and Zhou Daoji's bodies. Like two divine swords, Xianwang's aura was ancient, mysterious, majestic, and sharp. Zhou Daoji's aura was ethereal, ever-changing, and everlasting. It was as if two different sword wills were fighting each other. The power between them was like a tsunami, causing the air around them to shake violently. Ching! A clear sword chime shook the void, as if a true dragon had soared through the 9 heavens. Vast sword intent gushed out, and the sword chime grew clearer and clearer. Zhou Daoji's calm demeanor was replaced by a sharp and fierce one. His eyes were as sharp as swords. It was as if there were billions of sword chi in them. An ancient sword rose from behind him. It glowed with a brilliant light. The space around it trembled. Chaos filled the air as the sword slashed down on Xianwang. The sword seemed to have pierced through space and time. It was going to kill Xianwang. Boom! The Xian King's eyes also became dignified and mysterious. Behind her, a vast world appeared. A mysterious great empress appeared out of nowhere. A beam of sword chi shot out from her palm and tore through the illusions. The sword chi flew towards Zhou Daoji. The sword of the holy path appeared once again. The great Baron sword art was a peerless technique. It contained the forbidden power of time. However, in front of Xianwang's sword of the holy path, Zhou Daoji's attack seemed to have many flaws. Rumble! The two swords collided in the air. It was as if a bright sun had exploded. The sword chi swept out in all directions. The horrifying sword chi made the surrounding Aries College students tremble in fear. They quickly backed away. Clang! Zhou Daoji's sword was sent flying by Xianwang. It buzzed and vibrated as it flew into the distance. The vast sword of the holy path came crashing down on Zhou Daoji. It contained the power to destroy everything in its path. It was extremely terrifying. The sword was so powerful that even Xianwang was unable to control it. Compared to the sword that Xianwang used against Chu Yunfan, this was the true power of the sword of the holy path. Chu Yunfan's face darkened. He had to admit that if Xianwang had used this sword, he would have been a ghost under the sword. Was Zhou Daoji going to die under this sword as well? Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Boom! At that moment, Zhou Daoji suddenly closed his eyes. All of his limbs and pores began to emit dazzling sword chi. It was as if his entire body had turned transparent. Zhou Daoji's body began to emit an ancient aura, and it began to grow rapidly. Zhou Daoji's cultivation broke through the bottleneck of the great circle of the heavenly god stage and broke through to the divine king stage. With the help of the sword of the holy path, Zhou Daoji took the final step. Rumble! In the sky, dark clouds rolled and thunder rumbled. The divine king tribulation had arrived. Chapter 1441. Xianwang finally understood Zhou Daoji's intention. The reason why Zhou Daoji wanted to challenge Xianwang to a duel was because he saw Xianwang comprehending the sword of Saint Path. He wanted to borrow the pressure from the sword of Saint Path to feel the powerful sword will and break through to the immortal king realm. When Zhou Daoji broke through to the immortal king realm, the sword of Saint Path would be imprinted in his primordial spirit along with the lightning tribulation. It was as if a seed of Saint Path had been planted in his heart. One day, it would take root and sprout. However, it was also very dangerous. If Zhou Daoji did not use the pressure to break through to the immortal king realm, he would either be killed by the sword of Saint Path or be severely injured. Fortunately, Zhou Daoji won the bet. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled as bolts of lightning shot across the sky. They were as thick as mountains and formed a vast sea of lightning in the sky. The sea of lightning was filled with dark, destructive energy. It was like the eye of the heavens that wanted to destroy all life. It was extremely terrifying. The vast law of heaven and earth enveloped Zhou Daoji. Ha! Junior sister Xian Wang, thank you. I have lost this duel. Zhou Daoji laughed heartily as he looked at Xian Wang with gratitude. Then he shot up into the sky. The heavens around Zhou Daoji began to tremble. Countless heavenly lights intertwined and enveloped Zhou Daoji in an instant. So this is the immortal king tribulation. I can't believe Zhou Daoji broke through to the immortal king realm in one go. Wang Lin, Lu Jingfeng, and the others were all shocked. It was not difficult for the 9 great kings to break through to the immortal king realm. However, they were all peerless geniuses and had their own ambitions. Even if they could not comprehend the embryonic form of the Saint Path in the full circle of the heavenly God realm, they would work hard to comprehend the law of divine Tao in the full circle of the heavenly God realm. Everything was for the sake of the Saint Path. In the God world, only by confirming one's Tao and becoming a saint could one become a supreme expert and enlighten all living beings. In fact, one could even traverse the heavens, establish a sect, and become a Buddha. It was just that becoming a saint was too difficult. Just increasing the chances of becoming a saint by 1 in 10,000 was already worth countless people fighting for. For example, Zhou Daoji had used Xian Wang's sword of saintly path to plant a seed of saintly path in his heart, which increased his chances of becoming a saint. Although Wang Lin, Lu Jingfeng, and the others were envious, they knew that this kind of opportunity could not be replicated. Tiangang was still as calm as ever, as if he wasn't affected by Zhou Daoji's breakthrough at all. Xian Wang was slightly startled. He put away the ancient sword in his hand and floated down from the divine battle ring. Although Zhou Daoji had used her sword of sainthood to achieve a breakthrough, King Xian wasn't unhappy about it. Besides, Zhou Daoji had given up the second place of the hidden dragon rank without hesitation. Naturally, no one was in the mood to continue the competition. Everyone's attention was drawn to Zhou Daoji's breakthrough to the divine king realm. This brat is really audacious. Tong Yuan smiled bitterly, but there was a hint of relief in his eyes. Boom! Tong Yuan's palm emitted a vast amount of light. Lines of runes gushed out from it. Following which, the mountain where Ares College was located began to tremble violently. A mysterious dragon's roar came from the ground, and in an instant, hundreds of divine light pillars shot up into the sky, protecting the entire Ares College. Tong Yuan had activated the protective array of the Divine King Realm. Otherwise, with the power of the Divine King Realm, the entire mountain would have been razed to the ground. Outsiders could not interfere with the Divine King Realm's tribulation. Only Zhou Daoji could bear it. Bolts of lightning intertwined, and like a black dragon, they roared and crashed down on Zhou Daoji. The terrifying lightning was like the Milky Way, sweeping across the land. It was a terrifying scene. Zhou Daoji's gaze sharpened at that moment. Clang! A dazzling sword light rose from his body, and in an instant, it lit up the endless darkness and slashed down on the Divine King Realm's tribulation. Boom! The terrifying lightning shattered and turned into a dazzling rain of light that fell in all directions. It was as if a mysterious phenomenon had appeared in the sky. The dragon's roar echoed through the sky, and the lightning dragon leaped out from the sea of lightning. It looked like a real dragon, and it was emitting a terrifying aura as it charged towards Zhou Daoji. After the lightning dragon, the sea of lightning became even more turbulent. There was a black Kirin, a white tiger the size of a mountain, a phoenix surrounded by endless lightning, and a golden crow breathing fire. It was as if an endless number of ancient mythical beasts had appeared at this moment, and they all charged towards Jodoji. The Sea of Lightning was like a passage to the ancient times, and it contained a terrifying amount of energy. Many powerful creatures were awakened in the Sea of Lightning, and they all charged towards Jodoji. This is the legendary Divine King Realm's tribulation. I didn't expect Jodoji's talent to be so terrifying. When Han Li saw the ancient divine beasts that filled the sky, his eyes involuntarily shrank as he exclaimed, "In the divine world, the God-King tribulation that a great circle heavenly god had to undergo would be different depending on one's talent." The Divine King Realm's tribulation was divided into 9 grades. The first grade Divine King Realm's tribulation had 9 bolts of lightning, and the 9th grade Divine King Realm's tribulation had 81 bolts of lightning. Above the 9th grade Divine King Realm's tribulation was the human grade Divine King Realm's tribulation. During the tribulation, there would be powerful ancient fighting spirits. The Earth grade Divine King Realm's tribulation was when the ancient mythical beasts and other powerful creatures were awakened, and they would attack the Divine King Realm's tribulation. As for the legendary Heaven grade God King tribulation, it was something that only peerless geniuses, saints' sons and saintesses of various holy lands could encounter. That was the true Heaven grade God tribulation. It would transform into yin and yang of heaven and earth, myriad worlds, and even endless primal chaos. It was extremely terrifying. In the realm of the gods, the 3rd grade Divine King Realm's tribulation was the weakest one. Without great luck, one would be stuck at the early Divine King Realm for the rest of his life. The 4th grade Divine King Realm's tribulation to the 6th grade Divine King Realm's tribulation was most people's tribulation. The 7th grade Divine King Realm's tribulation to the 9th grade Divine King Realm was already considered a genius. The human grade Divine King Realm's tribulation and the Earth grade Divine King Realm's tribulation were peerless geniuses that were rarely seen in the past 100 years. The Heaven grade Divine King Realm's tribulation was even rarer. It was said that after passing the Heaven grade Divine King Realm's tribulation, one would have the chance to see the divine path and see the origin of the world. As long as one did not die in the future, one would almost certainly become a saint. As for the Heaven grade Divine King Realm's tribulation, it was said that there was an even more terrifying Divine King Realm's tribulation, but that was only a legend. Jodoji had passed the Earth grade Divine King Realm's tribulation and was qualified to enter the War God Shrine. He would be trained as a core disciple. Chapter 1442. Kaboom! Thunder rumbled in the sky as the roars of the beasts filled the air. It was as if the beasts had come back to life in the Sea of Lightning. One after another, they turned into terrifying divine beasts and engaged in a fierce battle with Jodoji. Jodoji looked elegant and refined. His temperament was otherworldly, and he looked like an elegant young master. However, his attacks were sharp and vicious. Streaks of light shot across the sky. They were extremely sharp, causing the surrounding space to tremble and produce mysterious ripples. Boom, boom, boom. It was as if Zhou Daoji was the only one left in the world. He was bathed in blood as he fought against the beasts in the Sea of Lightning. His body was stained with blood, and he was even coughing up blood from time to time. However, his eyes were glowing brighter than ever. His sword radiance swept across thousands of miles and froze 3,000 states. Although Zhou Daoji's thunder calamity was extremely powerful, it did not cause much damage to the Ares College. Tong Yuan and the other powerful overlords had activated the protective mountain array. Zhou Daoji's lightning calamity lasted for almost a day before it finally ended. At the last moment, Zhou Daoji unleashed a powerful strike that split the Sea of Lightning apart and devoured all the energy in it. His aura skyrocketed as he became a true divine king. Zhou Daoji turned into a streak of light and sat down on top of the mountain. He began to digest the Divine King's lightning calamity and stabilize his cultivation. Let's continue with the generational competition. Tong Yuan's hoarse voice rang out. He activated the protective array to protect Zhou Daoji so that no one could disturb his cultivation. Lu Wu's eyes glowed as he looked at Zhou Daoji and Tong Yuan. A strange look flashed across his face. No one knew what he was thinking. Xian Wang, you are now second on the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. It's my turn to challenge you. Ling Xiao glanced at the Xian Wang and smiled. Oh, are you going to challenge Tiangang? Xian Wang looked at Ling Xiao expectantly. That's right. Tiangang is quite powerful. I feel that he has reached the great circle of the heavenly god state a long time ago. If he had not suppressed his cultivation, he would have broken through to the divine king state much earlier than the others. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he spoke slowly. Big brother, go. Defeat Tiangang, obtain the Hidden Dragon champion, and let those fellows see your strength. Yi Liangchen also came over and chuckled. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, then leaped onto the arena of the gods. Long Outyen is on the divine battle stage. Who does he want to challenge? When everyone saw Ling Zhao's figure, they couldn't help but tremble. Their eyes were filled with anticipation. At this moment, almost everyone's eyes were on Ling Xiao. More than 2 months ago, Ling Xiao had defeated the Black Tortoise King Lu Wu, and his name had shaken the entire Ares College. Following that, the news from the God Devil space had spread. Only then did everyone know that Ling Xiao had not only defeated Lu Wu, but had also killed a demon god king in the God Devil space, slaughtered the heavenly demon race's genius Bo Jie, fought to a draw with Overlord College's Jin Gang, and finally forced the Great Zhou College's vice principal Ji Jun and Ji Yuanlong to kneel and apologize. This series of battle records scared everyone silly. One must know that even Big Dipper's senior brother was strong, but he didn't create such a glorious battle record. All of this made Ling Zhao's body shrouded in a mysterious light. Therefore, everyone was looking forward to Ling Zhao's battle. However, when Ling Xiao challenged Wang Long for the first time, Wang Long didn't even have the strength to fight back and was beaten up by Ling Xiao. However, no one could see Ling Zhao's true strength. After all, Wang Long didn't have the ability to force Ling Xiao to use his true strength. Is he going to challenge Big Dipper's senior brother? When someone saw Ling Zhao's gaze on Big Dipper, they couldn't help but tremble and jump in fright. However, everyone's thoughts quickly became reality. Big Dipper's senior brother, Long Outyen, please enlighten me. Ling Xiao cupped his hands towards Big Dipper and smiled faintly. This guy actually dares to challenge Big Dipper's senior brother? What great courage, but I don't know if he has the strength to do so. Wang Lin widened her eyes and glared at Ling Xiao with displeasure. That's hard to say. This Long Outyen is unfathomable. He might really be a strong opponent for Big Dipper's senior brother. Lu Zhengfeng said slowly with a dignified look. Big Dipper looked very calm. After looking at Ling Xiao indifferently, he stomped his feet and shot onto the deity battle arena like a meteor. Junior brother Long, your undying war body has reached level 4 completion, right? Moreover, your body is very strong. You must have cultivated more than one body refining skill. I also want to fight with you. Big Dipper looked at Ling Xiao with undisguised admiration, and a strong fighting spirit overflowed from his eyes. Big Dipper was wearing a beast skin. Under his bronze skin, his meridians were like dragons and his entire body exuded an explosive power. He stood there as if he was a god of war from ancient times. His entire body exuded an ancient, unruly and wild aura. Big Dipper's face was resolute and his eyes were bright and pure. Ling Xiao could tell at a glance that Big Dipper was a martial arts fanatic. He was the kind of person who was obsessed with martial arts. He had seen such eyes in Jian Wushuang and Dugu Qiubai before. However, Dugu Qiubai's eyes were more calm and indifferent, as if he had seen through everything. Naturally, his cultivation level was higher. When Big Dipper stood in front of Ling Xiao could feel the strong pressure coming from Big Dipper. Ling Xiao had already guessed that Big Dipper had really cultivated the undying war body to level 5, the triple god dragon transformation realm. Among the 9 unique skills of Ares College, the undying war body was the most difficult to cultivate. It was even more difficult than the Great Wilderness Sword Principle. Please enlighten me. Ling Xiao said solemnly as he cupped his hands towards Big Dipper. Boom! A powerful aura erupted from Ling Xiao's body. His blood and chi circled around him like a golden dragon. Moreover, there were 5 small suns on his chest that emitted resplendent divine light, causing his aura to skyrocket in an instant. On the other hand, Big Dipper's face was calm and his eyes were bright. However, the aura around him was as deep as the ocean, as if it could devour everything. Ling Xiao and Big Dipper's aura clashed invisibly. It was like 2 vast and immortal mountains. Just one clash was enough to cause a loud rumble. Boom! Chapter 1443. Ling Xiao's aura was like a dragon, and his eyes were sharp. His entire person was like a divine sword that pierced the heavens, or a heavenly blade that could destroy everything. In the end, he seemed to have transformed into a divine dragon that traversed hundreds of millions of miles, overlooking the vast earth. On the other hand, Tiangang was like a war god that had walked out from ancient times. The clash of their auras was terrifying to the extreme. Even though they were separated by the sacred battle arena, everyone could feel the clash of their auras. Everyone's gaze became incomparably solemn. It's just a clash of auras, but Long Outyen and Big Brother Tiangang are actually evenly matched. They're really strong. I wonder who will win this battle. Everyone's eyes were filled with anticipation. The battle between Ling Xiao and Tiangang could be said to be the battle that everyone in Aries College was looking forward to the most. This was the battle of the pinnacle, and it was also the battle that caused everyone's blood to boil. Even Tong Yuan, Han Li, Lu Yen, and the rest had their eyes on Ling Xiao and Tiangang. In an instant, Ling Xiao made his move. He threw out a punch, and a dazzling fist mark exploded like the sun, covering the sky and suppressing Tiangang. This was the God of War King Fist. Ling Xiao directly used his immortal battle body to activate the God of War King Fist. The fist force was vast and vigorous, like the stars in the 9 heavens, falling towards the endless earth. Come on! Tiangong's eyes were also filled with excitement. When Ling Xiao's fist was about to reach his forehead, the terrifying force of the fist caused the space between his eyebrows to tremble a little. Only then did he throw out a punch. Bang! The crowd did not even see how Tiangang made his move. They only saw him throw out a punch. Suddenly, it was as if there was a terrifying explosion of lightning between Ling Xiao and Tiangang. Both of them trembled violently and then flew backwards. It was as if dozens of sacred mountains had exploded at the same time. Endless divine light gushed out, causing the void to distort. The collision between the two was like a battle between ancient divine beasts. It was terrifying to the extreme. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. He actually felt a very familiar aura from Tiangang's body. Tiangang seemed to be doing his best to conceal the power of his bloodline. However, Ling Xiao's sharp senses could still sense that the familiar power of his bloodline contained an ancient, boundless, majestic, and boundless power. It was something he was extremely familiar with, but he couldn't recall what it was. What kind of bloodline does Tiangang have? Ling Xiao's heart trembled, but at the critical moment, Tiangang took the initiative to attack Ling Xiao. Boom! Tiangang's palm. Tiangang's of course, Tiangang's Tiangang's. Tiangang's five's gang, Tiangang's gang. This was the 5-mountain godly palm. Was. Most importantly, Tiangang did not use the divine power in his body at all. Instead, he used the pure strength of his physical body to fight against his opponent. It was as if the 5 divine mountain palms had transformed into 5 divine mountains, suppressing everything. Kill! The blood in Ling Xiao's body seemed to be boiling. It had been a long time since Ling Xiao was so excited. Every particle in his body was cheering, and a strong battle intent surged. It awakened the strongest battle instinct in his body. Ling Xiao loved the feeling of punching flesh the most. The feeling of blood gushing out of his body, the feeling of being strong enough to explode, the feeling of being able to destroy heaven and earth with a punch, the feeling of being able to completely suppress a powerful enemy. That was the most exciting feeling in his heart. Now, Tiangang gave Ling Xiao that feeling of excitement. This meant that Tiangang's physical body was not weaker than Ling Xiao's. In fact, he was even stronger than Ling Xiao. That was extremely terrifying. Ling Xiao's body of the divine dragon had reached the peak of major accomplishment and was close to perfection. His invulnerable battle body had reached the peak of the fourth layer as well. With his current physical strength, he could even suppress a god king. Tiangang's indestructible war body might have reached the fifth level of the triple deity dragon transformation realm, but it was only on par with Ling Xiao. Tiangang's strongest point was his bloodline power. It was ancient and primitive. It was like the creation of heaven and earth, and it gave Ling Xiao a great pressure. Boom! Ling Xiao punched out. The divine light of the four symbols soared into the sky. The power of the laws of earth, water, wind, and fire intertwined. It was as if chaos was recreating and reopening heaven and earth. An eternal chaotic fist print flew out and suppressed Tiangang. Another huge collision. It was like an erupting volcano. Endless divine light exploded. Ling Xiao and Tiangang's figures violently collided in the void. They turned into afterimages. Their speed was extremely fast. The surrounding mountains exploded one after another. Some of them even spewed out hot magma. The towering ancient trees were turned into fine powder and then began to burn fiercely. Boom, boom, boom. Ling Xiao and Tiangang's speed was too fast. Almost in the blink of an eye, they collided. Every punch was extremely terrifying. It made the eyes of the people below the divine battle arena twitch. Isn't this physical strength a little too terrifying? Isn't it? I feel that if I was in the divine battle arena, I wouldn't be able to withstand a single punch and would be killed. Too strong. Even the body of a divine beast shouldn't be so strong, right? Long Outyin and Tiangang are both peerless geniuses. Everyone exclaimed. They were all shocked by the battle between Ling Xiao and Tiangang. There had never been a battle like this that made their blood boil. It even made their bodies tremble. They didn't even think that the physical body of a human could be so strong. After all, in the legends, the demon race, and the sorcerer race had the strongest physical body. In the process of fighting with them, the human race had always been at a disadvantage in terms of physical strength. The human race's advantage was their divine power, their ability to comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, and their strong perception. They could create powerful supernatural powers, saint arts, and secret techniques to kill their enemies. However, the battle between Ling Xiao and Tiangang made them see a possibility. It turned out that the physical body of a human could be so strong. What kind of bloodline is it? Ling Xiao thought to himself as he fought with Tiangang. Tiangang seemed to know an extremely powerful secret technique, and there was also a seal left behind by an expert on his body, sealing the bloodline in his body. Only a trace of aura leaked out, and Ling Xiao could sense it, but it was not obvious. Therefore, Ling Xiao couldn't be sure what kind of bloodline Tiangang had. Boom! Chapter 1444. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed. This time, he didn't choose to face Tiangang head-on. Instead, he leaped up and dodged Tiangang's punch. Then he stomped down on Tiangang's chest. Bang! A towering mountain in the distance was smashed into dust by Tiangang's punch. However, Tiangang's body stopped abruptly at an unbelievable angle. Then he threw a punch behind him. Ling Xiao's kick collided with Tiangang's punch. Terrifying divine force gushed out. Ling Xiao's body swayed in the wind. He drew an arc and appeared behind Tiangang. His palm turned into a saber. The saber's edge was incomparably hot as it slashed down on Tiangang's head. This was the first blade of judgment. It was like the heavenly emperor judging a sinful creature and killing it with the divine blade of judgment. Clang! Tiangang stretched out his hand to block. The sound of metal clashing actually rang out. Then, a bright light bloomed from Tiangang's palm. A powerful fist came crashing down on Ling Xiao. Light shone in all directions, allowing all living things to grow. This was the Radiant Seal. It was also the third ultimate skill that Tiangang used. Ling Xiao even wondered if Tiangang had learned all 9 ultimate skills. Moreover, he had cultivated all of them to the greater success stage. Boom! Ling Xiao's blood energy rose as he threw a punch forward. A golden dragon appeared along with his punch. It floated between heaven and earth. Endless divine light lingered around it. Its aura was monstrous as it charged towards Tiangang. Ling Zhao's body contained the bloodline of the divine dragon. Therefore, he cultivated both the indestructible war body and the divine dragon body. There seemed to be a mysterious balance between the two. Ling Zhao's physical body was strong. Thus, he could freely switch between the two techniques. The radiant seal and the golden dragon collided and exploded at the same time. Tiangang rushed towards the dazzling rain of light. His eyes were filled with battle intent as he pierced a finger towards Ling Zhao's forehead. Bang! Ling Zhao raised his fist to block. That finger pierced his fist and shattered the bloody light on Ling Zhao's fist. Then, a bloody wound was left on Ling Zhao's palm. An incomparably sharp sword intent exploded. It was as if an incomparably desolate aura had exploded, wanting to steal the vitality in Ling Zhao's body. The fourth ultimate skill, the Great Baron Sword Art. Tiangang's finger was like a sword as the Great Baron Sword Art exploded. Tiangang's body seemed to have turned into a vast vortex. Tiangang devoured all the vitality in a 1,000-mile radius. Tiangang's life. The flow of time was like the vicissitudes of the world, stripping Ling Zhao of his lifespan. Tiangang's Great Baron Sword Art was Tiangang's Tian. Ling Zhao sighed in his heart. Tiangang was truly a peerless genius. He had always suppressed his cultivation at the great circle of the heavenly deity realm. It wasn't that he didn't want to break through, but he had greater ambitions. Break. Tian's power. Five elements heaven sealing style. Tiangang's 5 elements heaven sealing style exploded. Ling Zhao's arms hugged the void and a huge 5 elements millstone appeared in front of him. Then, it came crashing down on Tiangang. What a mysterious martial skill. Good timing. Tiangang was delighted to see this, and his gaze became even more intense and dazzling. Behind him, there seemed to be the roar of a dragon. His aura surged. He threw a punch at Ling Zhao. The punch was extremely terrifying. Kacha! The 5-element grindstone slowly rotated, as if it wanted to grind all power into dust. When Big Dipper's fist landed on the 5-element grindstone, it erupted with the resplendent light. Runes exploded one after another, but in the end, they were all ground to dust by the 5-element grindstone. The 5 elements millstone seemed to contain the laws of heaven. Nothing could stop it. It continued to smash down on Tiangang. Boom, boom, boom. Astral Vault threw out over 100 punches. Each punch was like a small sun exploding. In an instant, over 100 resplendent suns appeared. They seemed to form a chain reaction between each other, directly setting off a divine light storm. Even Ling Zhao and Tiangang were swept up by the storm. Then they flew out at the same time. Kacha! At this moment, the deity battle ring was shaking violently. It was as if it couldn't withstand the powerful force between Ling Zhao and Tiangang. Tong Yuan's face changed. He quickly took action with Han Li. Both of them poured their divine power into the deity battle ring. Only then did the deity battle ring stabilize. If the array space formed by the deity battle ring was broken by Ling Zhao and Tiangang, it would be a real joke. Junior Brother Long, your physical body is indeed very strong. However, I only used the 4th level of the Undying War Body. Next, I'll use the 5th level. However, I still can't control it perfectly. You have to be careful. Tiangang stood in the void. His black hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were sharp as he looked at Ling Zhao. Senior Brother Tiangang, go ahead. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed as he said calmly. Tiangang didn't use his strongest physical body. Of course, he did too. Not to mention the strength of the Divine Dragon Body, the Divine Dragon Body and the Undying War Body seemed to have formed a perfect balance in Ling Zhao's body. This made his physical body extremely terrifying. Ling Zhao also wanted to test just where the limits of his current physical body were. Very good. Be careful. Tiangang's eyes flashed. At this moment, the aura of his entire body surged. Rumble. Tiangang's glabella lit up. His heart was glowing. His dantian was also glowing. It was like 3 small suns. The light was extremely bright. A mysterious dragon-shaped shadow pierced through Tiangang's glabella, heart, and dantian. At this moment, the blood in his body started to boil. Boom. Behind him, a vast amount of blood surged like the sea. The void in all directions shook. A loud dragon roar exploded. It was ancient and mysterious. Tiangang's eyes also became incomparably resplendent, and he punched forward. Kacha! The force of the punch was vast. Wherever the aftershock went, the towering ancient trees would explode. Sacred mountains would turn into dust. This punch seemed to have nurtured a vast world and suppressed Ling Xiao. This was the triple deity dragon transformation realm. The so-called triple deity dragon transformation realm was when one's essence, energy, and spirit were like dragons. They formed a perfect balance in the body, allowing the strength of the physical body to reach the limit. It could sweep through everything. Even the physical body could withstand a God-King weapon. Chapter 1445. A great circle heavenly god is able to reach the 5th level of the indestructible combat body, the triple deity dragon transformation realm. How respectable! Junior Han, I remember that you only managed to reach the 5th level of the indestructible combat body when you were a divine king. Tong Yuan sighed softly and looked at Han Li who was beside him. Late divine king realm, I only managed to reach the triple deity dragon transformation realm after 100 years of seclusion. Han Li said calmly. The current Han Li could be said to be the most powerful person in Ares College. Even Tong Yuan admitted that he was no match for Han Li. This showed how terrifying the 5th level of the indestructible combat body was. However, when Tiangang reached the triple deity dragon transformation realm, he was only a great circle heavenly god. The gap between them was so big that it made people gasp in shock. They could not even feel jealous. The 5th level of the indestructible combat body, the triple deity dragon transformation realm. With such a strong physical body, he can defeat any divine king. Long Outyan will definitely lose. Wang Lin's gaze shook. She seemed to be pleasantly surprised and said with certainty. In Wang Lin's opinion, this was the real strength of Tiangang. It was more than 10 times stronger than before. Even if Ling Xiao was able to fight Tiangang to a draw, that was not Tiangang's real strength. It seems like Long Outyan is going to lose. Lu Zhengfeng exclaimed in admiration. That bastard is finally going to lose. It would be great if big senior brother Tiangang could kill him with one punch. Lu Yen and Lu Wenqing looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of hatred. Hee, Long Outyan won't lose. These guys are all blind. Black Donkey seemed to have heard the voices of the crowd and sneered. The triple deity dragon transformation realm. I wonder how Big Brother will deal with him. I'm really looking forward to it. Yi Liangchen's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. Rumble. Tiangang's body was glowing. At the same time, the roar of a dragon could be heard. It was a sound that came from the depths of his blood. It represented the perfection of his physical body. It gave Tiangang's punch a terrifying destructive force. In the face of this punch, even Ling Xiao felt a strong sense of danger in his heart. This was the first time since he came to the divine world that he met someone who could contend against him in terms of physical strength. The strength of Tiangang's physical body far exceeded his expectations. Ling Xiao had no doubt that even a divine king expert would be killed by Tiangang's punch. Ling Xiao's heart calmed down instead. He stretched out his hands, and the resplendent golden light transformed into mysterious runes that pulsated in his palms. Behind Ling Xiao, chaotic mist spread out. Dazzling divine light radiated with immortal energy waves. An incomparably mysterious figure appeared behind him, as if it was the celestial emperor who had dominated the ancient times. Beneath his feet was a golden divine dragon that was billions of miles long. At this moment, the power of the body of the divine dragon and the immortal battle body erupted at the same time, forming a perfect balance. Explosive dragon theurgy, explode for me. An incomparably terrifying power erupted from Ling Xiao's body. His aura skyrocketed, and the blood in his body began to burn like a vast flame at this moment. With the body of a divine dragon, the Berserk Dragon divine ability could unleash 64 times the power. This was also one of Ling Xiao's strongest trump cards. However, the price of using the Berserk Dragon divine ability was also very high. If it wasn't for the fact that Tiangang's power was too strong, Ling Xiao wouldn't have used it. Ling Xiao's face was calm, and there was no sadness or joy. He simply threw out a punch. Kacha! The terrifying fist print exploded, and Ling Xiao and Tiangang's figures collided. Instantly, the heavens and earth rumbled, and the void trembled. An earth-shattering tremor erupted. The sun and moon lost their light, and the sky changed color. Everything in the surroundings seemed to have turned into chaos. Several huge mountains were silently turned into fine powder, and everything became blurry and invisible. Who was the winner? Everyone's eyes were filled with doubt and anticipation as they looked towards the terrifying divine light vortex. A figure flew out from it, trembling violently in the void. There was even a trace of golden blood at the corner of his mouth. Everyone could even clearly see that there was a huge bloody hole on the figure's chest. It was a ghastly sight. That's Senior Brother Tiangang? Senior Brother Tiangang lost? How is that possible? Everyone was stunned. That figure was vigorous and majestic. He was wearing beast skin and was incomparably tall. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his face was incomparably wild. However, the trace of blood at the corner of his mouth was also shocking. His aura had also become somewhat weak. Who else could it be other than Tiangang? Everyone's hearts were filled with disbelief. How could Tiangang lose? This is impossible. Wang Lin's face was the ugliest. Senior Brother Tiangang had always been an invincible existence in her heart. She simply couldn't accept this result. The light in the void dissipated, and Ling Xiao's figure appeared in front of everyone. His clothes were still whiter than snow. Ling Xiao stood in the void, and his aura was incomparably transcendent. Although his face was a little pale, his eyes were brighter. At this moment, Ling Xiao's blood was also surging. His arms were numb, and it was as if they were about to lose consciousness. Just now, Ling Xiao had used both the divine dragon body and the undying battle body at the same time. Furthermore, he had unleashed the terrifying power of the Berserk Dragon divine ability by 64 times before he was able to suppress Tiangang. But even so, Ling Xiao's blood was surging, and he had reached his limit. Tiangang's physical body was too terrifying. However, Ling Xiao finally understood the mysterious bloodline power in Tiangang's body. It's actually the Panga clan? No wonder the bloodline is so powerful. Ling Xiao's heart trembled. His eyes were filled with amazement as he looked at Tiangang. He couldn't calm down for a long time. It wasn't until just now when Tiangang was injured that Ling Xiao finally understood that the mysterious bloodline in Tiangang's body was actually the bloodline power of the Panga clan. Ling Xiao had seen Panga Yang and the others in the reincarnation realm before. He was also very familiar with the bloodline aura in their bodies, so it was easy for him to recognize it. It was just that although the Panga clan was an ancient clan and was incomparably powerful, they seemed to have offended some experts. As a result, they were planted with a bloodline curse and exiled to the lower realm. However, Ling Xiao didn't feel the power of the bloodline curse on Tiangang's body. He also didn't know why Tiangang was in Aries College. Tiangang's real name was probably Pangu Tiangang. Junior Brother Long, it seems like I was wrong. Your physical body is indeed very strong. Tiangang took a deep look at Ling Xiao. Not only did he not show any signs of depression due to his failure, but the battle intent in his eyes grew stronger. Boom! Powerful blood energy rose around his body as if some mysterious power had been triggered. His injuries began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his physical body gradually recovered to its peak. Chapter 1446. The bloody hole in Tiangang's chest shone brightly as a mysterious aura intertwined. His blood and qi became more vigorous as his injuries healed rapidly. Behind Tiangang, the void trembled as if there was a heavenly drum beating on everyone's heart. The mysterious rhythm made everyone's blood boil as if they were about to explode. A mysterious figure appeared behind Tiangang as if it was an ancient innate god. It emitted a vast and mysterious aura as it appeared behind Tiangang. Junior Brother Long, your physical body is indeed strong. However, my strongest point isn't my physical body. Let me see how strong you are in other aspects. Tiangang's eyes seemed to have turned into a pure gold color, majestic and mysterious. He said slowly as he slammed his palm towards Ling Xiao. Boom! Heaven and earth trembled. The heavenly dipper and the innate godly spirit behind him seemed to have merged into one. Boundless laws of nature rose up, forming blazing flames, peerless lightning, freezing ice, and raging seawater. All of these intertwined together to form a vast power that exploded outwards. At this moment, Tiangang seemed to have become a supreme emperor who ruled over the world. His anger could shock the world. This is Heavenly God's secret technique. Someone trembled as he couldn't help but exclaim in shock. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Heavenly God's secret technique? Is this the Heavenly God's secret technique that is known as the 19th secret technique of the Heavenly God's secret technique? But weren't these ancient secret techniques lost long ago? Where did Senior Brother Tiangang get this from? Everyone's hearts trembled as they found it difficult to calm down. According to legends, the 108 secret techniques of the ancient era contain the ultimate secrets of heaven and earth. They were extremely powerful and had been passed down from the ancient era until now. Most of the secret techniques had been lost. Just like the divine world's 12 immortal sacred grounds, they relied on 12 flawless secret techniques to establish themselves. They were powerful to the extreme. The 19th secret technique of Tiangang, the Heavenly God's secret technique, was known to be able to mobilize the power of the ancient gods. It was terrifying to the extreme. Heavenly God's secret technique? Ling Zhao's eyes shone with a bright light. The wordless heavenly book in his body was excited as it emitted waves of urgency, as if it was eager to retrieve the Heavenly God's secret technique. Boom! Ling Xiao took a big gulp and swallowed all the endless divine light around him. His body was full of divine power, and his strength began to skyrocket. A blazing blade light swept across the void. Ling Xiao slashed at Tiangang. The 7 styles of judgment clashed with the divine God secret technique, and the blazing blade radiance bloomed in front of everyone. However, when Astral Vault's palm imprint landed, there seemed to be the silhouettes of 3,000 gods appearing behind him. Boundless divine energy infused Astral Vault's body, causing his palm to emit fluctuations of immortality. The resplendent saber light directly exploded, and Ling Xiao was also sent flying by Tiangang's palm. Ling Zhao's arms trembled, and the divine power in his body boiled. His eyes flashed with divine light. Tiangang's Tianshan secret technique seemed to be extremely compatible with his own bloodline, allowing him to explode with terrifying power. Ling Xiao flew back, but a golden divine dragon flew out from his palm and charged towards Tiangang. Boom! 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 Intense vibrations resounded across the sky, and the energy fluctuations around Tiangang became even more terrifying. His entire body was infused with the power of the ancient gods. Although he wasn't a divine king, his strength was even more terrifying than a divine king. He continued to attack Ling Xiao fiercely. This isn't the complete divine god's secret technique. It's incomplete. Otherwise, it should be able to raise Tiangang's cultivation by a whole realm. Tong Yuan said slowly, and his eyes were incomparably deep. Among the 108 secret techniques, every secret technique was extremely mysterious and had different uses. For example, when the complete divine god's secret technique was used, Tiangang would be able to raise his cultivation by a whole realm after receiving the support of the ancient gods. He would be able to unleash the power of a great circle divine king, and he would probably be able to defeat Ling Xiao in a single blow. However, even if it was an incomplete secret technique, It was enough to raise Tiangong's strength by 1 or 2 small realms. Tiangang and Ling Xiao seemed to have returned to the level where they were evenly matched, and they started a great battle of accumulation. Although Ling Xiao had a few secret techniques, he couldn't display them in front of everyone. Otherwise, no matter how strong the divine god's secret technique was, he would be invincible as long as he used the sky-devouring secret technique. Kill! Ling Xiao's body emitted a dazzling radiance, and blood qi filled the air. His eyes seemed to have a sharp blade radiance flickering. He displayed the 7 styles of judgment, and turned into a heavenly emperor that ruled over all living things, and engaged in an intense battle with Tiangang. Under the pressure of the divine god's secret technique, Ling Xiao could feel that his comprehension of the 7 styles of judgment was getting deeper and deeper. Even his physical body was showing signs of breaking through again. Boom! Ling Xiao and Tiangang clashed fiercely once again. Endless divine light soared into the sky, and the two of them were like divine dragons, fighting from the sky to the ground. Wherever they went, heaven and earth would crumble, and everything would turn into dust. Ling Xiao used the 7 styles of judgment to fight against Tiangang, and he was under great pressure. His body seemed to be emitting traces of blood mist. Bang! Tiangang threw out a punch, and a terrifying divine shadow appeared behind him. It was as if it was supported by the heavens, and it made his strength even more terrifying. Although Ling Xiao tried his best to resist, Tiangong's punch still landed on his arm. His arm trembled, and his flesh was badly mangled. Even his bones seemed to be broken. Kill! Ling Xiao's eyes shone with sharpness. He used 9 blades in a row, and each blade was like a heavenly river that traversed the void. The 9 blade rivers fell on Tiangang, forming an incomparably terrifying blade domain. Tiangang also let out a long roar. His voice was ancient and vast, as if it had a mysterious resonance with heaven and earth. The more he fought, the braver he became. Bathed in the blade river that filled the sky, his fist was earth-shattering. It broke through the terrifying blade light and landed on Ling Xiao's body with extreme speed. Boom! Ling Xiao's body shook violently, and he was suddenly sent flying. A trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. At this point in the battle, Ling Xiao was finally injured. Is Long Outyin going to lose? Everyone couldn't help but feel refreshed. Tiangong's current aura was too terrifying. Although he was still in the great circle of the heavenly god realm, his strength had already surpassed the strength of an ordinary divine king. He was like a demon god that could destroy heaven and earth, and it made everyone tremble with fear. Naturally, Ling Xiao's fate was sealed in everyone's eyes. As for the previous time when Ling Xiao injured Tiangang, when everyone thought about it, it was probably because Ling Xiao used some kind of forbidden technique. However, as time passed, his strength immediately declined. Kacha! Blazing lightning bloomed around Tiangong's body. His eyes were filled with battle intent, and his black hair fluttered in the wind. He threw a punch at Ling Xiao. Chapter 1447. How terrifying! Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths as their bodies began to tremble. Tiangang's fist landed on Ling Xiao's head. Endless lightning bolts enveloped the entire world as if it was the tribulation of the God King. Its terrifying aura was not much weaker than Zhou Daoji's tribulation of the God King. Could Ling Xiao really withstand it? Everyone's heart was filled with questions. At that moment, a majestic dragon roar resounded through the sky. It contained an ancient, majestic, and mysterious aura. Within the dazzling lightning bolts, a golden vortex rose up and devoured all the lightning bolts in the sky. Ling Xiao looked solemn and dignified. He was neither sad nor happy. The aura around him had reached its peak at this moment. The space between his eyebrows, his heart, and his dantian erupted with a resplendent light at the same time. A golden divine dragon rose from his body and circled around him, erupting with an incomparably majestic energy fluctuation. Ling Xiao felt as if he had broken through some kind of shackle. It was as if he had been freed from an endless shackle. His entire body felt relaxed and at ease. The blood in his body boiled and rose up like a dragon. Behind his head, a seven-colored divine light appeared. It was like the light of Buddha. It made him look even more majestic and mysterious. That's the triple deity dragon? Lu Jingfeng and Wang Lin both shuddered. They could not help but exclaim as their eyes were filled with disbelief. Ling Xiao had broken through the fifth level of the indestructible war body, the triple deity dragon realm. Rumble. Ling Xiao's aura surged to the extreme. His gaze was extremely sharp. He also threw out a punch. The fist imprint was like a divine dragon flying out, emitting endless divine light as it blasted towards Tiangang. That dragon was surrounded by seven-colored divine light. It looked ancient and mysterious, causing the sky to tremble violently. Boom! Tiangang felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Even with the support of the gods, he could not withstand this kind of power. The mysterious runes around him exploded. The punch landed on his shoulder and broke his arm. It exploded into a cloud of blood mist. Tiangang coughed out blood and was sent flying for thousands of feet. A clear dragon's roar shook the heavens and earth. At this moment, only Ling Xiao's figure was left in the sky. He stood tall and upright, with a divine dragon coiling around him. His eyes were clear as he looked disdainfully at the world. This brat is ruthless to others, but even more ruthless to himself. He actually used the pressure of Heaven's Star to break through to the triple god's dragon transformation realm. I like it, Pa. Han Li looked at Ling Xiao with eyes full of admiration and amazement. Everyone was agitated, and their eyes were filled with disbelief. The battle between Ling Xiao and Astral Vault was full of twists and turns, ups and downs, making the audience feel incomparably satisfied. There were even many disciples who developed a fanatical worship for Ling Xiao and Astral Vault. Perfected Divine Dragon Body and Level 5 Indestructible War Body. This feels great. Ling Xiao's eyes sparkled. No one knew that Ling Xiao's indestructible battle body had not only reached the fifth level of the Triple God Transformation stage, but his Divine Dragon Body had also reached the Great Perfection stage. Originally, with Ling Xiao's cultivation speed, it would take at least a few more years of tempering to reach the Great Perfection stage. However, in the battle with Astral Vault, under Astral Vault's powerful pressure and Ling Xiao's suppression, both of these peerless martial arts had finally broken through. Ling Xiao's current physical body was more than 10 times stronger than before. Although he had not entered the Divine King realm, Ling Xiao's current physical strength was enough to sweep away ordinary Divine King realm powerhouses. The combination of the Divine Dragon Body and Level 5 Indestructible Battle Body allowed Ling Xiao's physical body to reach an extreme. However, the aura of the Triple God's transformation stage concealed everything. No one could see that Ling Xiao had also cultivated the Divine Dragon Body. Moreover, he had also broken through. Boom! Blood energy rose around Astral Vault's body, and the power of the Heavenly God's secret skill erupted. His arm that was smashed by Ling Xiao also began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. Junior Brother Long, you've become stronger. Perhaps you've already surpassed me. Why don't we settle this in one blow? Astral Vault looked deeply at Ling Xiao and said. His intuition was very sharp. The current Ling Xiao gave him the feeling that he was countless times more dangerous than before. He could faintly feel that Ling Xiao's indestructible battle body was not as simple as breaking through to level 5. Alright, then let's settle this in one blow. Ling Xiao nodded calmly. He and Astral Vault did not have any deep hatred. They were just sparring. There was no need to fight to the death. Otherwise, if Ling Xiao went all out, he believed that no matter how many trump cards Astral Vault had, he would definitely die. Big brother, this Long Outyin can't really defeat Astral Vault, right? Lu Wenqing's face was very ugly as he said unwillingly. It's hard to say. After all, this is just a sparring match. It's not a fight to the death. Maybe Astral Vault will be defeated by Long Outyin. Lu Wu said indifferently, and there seemed to be a black light flickering in his eyes. Astral Vault is too weak. Lu Yen also complained with some dissatisfaction. They were looking forward to seeing Long Outyin suffer a crushing defeat. Unfortunately, it seemed like Astral Vault would not let them get what they wanted. Settle this in one blow. Interesting. Han Li's eyes revealed a trace of surprise. He originally thought that after Ling Xiao broke through, there would be an intense battle between him and Astral Vault. He did not expect that the battle would end so quickly. The gazes of Tong Yuan and the rest also landed on the two of them. Boom. Astral Vault's eyes suddenly became incomparably deep, as if it contained a chaotic world. An ancient and vicissitude aura filled the air. A mysterious force rose from his body and merged with the heavenly god's secret skill. It was as if an incomparably terrifying force had erupted. The power of Pangu's bloodline. Ling Zhao's eyes flashed. As expected, Astral Vault was going all out. For this, he did not hesitate to unseal a trace of Pangu's bloodline power. At the same time, the heavenly god's secret skill and the immortal war body were activated, making him extremely terrifying. Boom! Astral Vault's palm swept across the sky. Heaven and earth seemed to have lost their color. The wind and clouds stirred, and the sun and moon lost their light. Astral Vault's palm covered the sky. The 3,000 gods behind him roared at the same time. Divine light gushed out as if it was going to destroy the world. This was Astral Vault's strongest attack. Ling Zhao's powerful pressure made him boil. Good. Chapter 1448. Ling Zhao's punch didn't seem to contain the slightest bit of smoke and fire. It was simple and indifferent, but the power of the punch enveloped the entire world. It was as if the Tao of nature was the closest to the heavenly Tao. It was simple and indifferent, but it encompassed the surrounding void. Rumble! Ling Zhao's punch and Tiangang's palm collided. Instantly, it was as if the sky had exploded and endless divine light burst out. The void trembled violently, and tiny cracks appeared, emitting black light. It was terrifying to the extreme. That's a crack in the void. How could their attack be so powerful? Someone exclaimed, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. One had to know that the space in the divine world was incomparably sturdy. Even God King experts couldn't break through the restrictions of space. Only saint experts could use supreme strength to tear the void apart. Now, the huge collision between Ling Xiao and Tiangang caused the world to tremble, and cracks appeared in the void, completely shocking everyone. Perhaps, those peerless geniuses in the immortal sacred grounds could also tear the void apart when they were in the God King realm. However, Ling Xiao and Tiangang were only in the great circle of the heavenly god realm. This terrifying scene left everyone dumbfounded. Boom! Unparalleled divine light burst out and countless abnormal phenomena were annihilated. Even the void of 3,000 gods and devils behind Heavenly Dipper disappeared. In the void, only Ling Zhao's punch was left. It was simple, natural, mysterious, and vast. That was a punch that reached the limit of the physical body, shocking the world and making ghosts and gods weep. In the end, the fist landed on Astral Vault's body. Astral Vault's blood chi surged as boundless divine light erupted. Powerful runes bloomed one after another, turning into an incomparably vast barrier in an attempt to block Ling Zhao's fist. Gotcha! However, the explosion of the punch also broke the barrier. As if struck by lightning, Tiangang's body trembled violently. Then he was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Ha! Junior brother Long, you've won. Tiangang's face was incomparably pale, but his eyes were incomparably bright. He laughed heartily, and he didn't seem to be affected by his defeat. Not only that, Tiangang's eyes were filled with a strong battle intent. It was a feeling of excitement after seeing a prey, as though he had found a worthy opponent. Thanks for letting me win, senior brother Tiangang. Ling Xiao cupped his fists at Tiangang and smiled. Speaking of which, Ling Xiao and the Pangu clan could be considered to be fated. Ever since he obtained the reincarnation sacred art from Pangu Chu, he had met the Pangu clan in the reincarnation realm, and finally, he met Tiangang in the divine world. The Pangu clan was also a powerful ancient clan in the god realm. However, it seemed that they had offended some big shot a few million years ago, and the Pangu clan had disappeared from the god realm for a long time. Ling Xiao did not expect that Tiangang, a member of the Pangu clan, would appear in Ares College and seal his own bloodline power. Ling Xiao had a deep understanding of the Pangu clan's terrifying physical body. He believed that if Tiangang undid all the seals, his physical body might not necessarily be much weaker than Ling Xiao's. Tiangang was defeated. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, became the new number 1 on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Senior brother Tiangang actually lost? Wang Lin and Lu Jingfeng were in a daze. They could not accept it. In their hearts, senior brother Tiangang had always been an invincible existence. It was so in Ares College, and it was the same even when facing the geniuses of other colleges. But now, he had been defeated by Ling Xiao. They were not the only ones. Many people in Ares College who admired Tiangang could not accept this result. Ha! Big Brother won. Big Brother is the number 1 on the Hidden Dragon ranking. Let's see who dares to offend us in the future. Yi Liangchen laughed arrogantly with a smug look on his face. This guy is getting stronger and stronger. Doesn't this mean that I have no hope of turning the tables? The black donkey mumbled at the side. It looked at Ling Xiao with a complicated gaze. It was a genius of the Draconic Horse clan and had always been arrogant. In its opinion, only a peerless great emperor was qualified to make it a mount. If it was not for the emperor's request, it would not follow Ling Xiao. It was even holding back its anger, hoping that one day, its strength would surpass Ling Xiao's, then it would beat Ling Xiao up and make Ling Xiao its mount. But now, it seemed that it would be difficult to achieve this wish. Why am I so happy? Did water enter my brain after being this bastard's mount for so long? This is not a good thing. The black donkey mumbled to itself, its face full of vigilance. Tiangang has been defeated, but Ares College will definitely be able to get into the top 10 or even the top 3 in the academy tournament. Tong Yuan smiled slightly, not taking Tiangong's defeat to heart. This generational tournament had made him extremely happy. Zhou Doji had broken through to the Divine King realm, and the battle between Tiangang and Ling Xiao had caused an uproar. Tong Yuan had seen a possibility. One had to know that in the previous academy tournament, Ares College had always been at the bottom. This time, they could finally hold their heads high. That's right. Long Outyin and Tiangang are not divine kings, but they are stronger than divine kings. Ordinary divine kings are no match for them. It would be best if they could break through to the Divine King realm before the Academy tournament. Then we might even be able to get first place, let alone the top 3. Han Li said with a smile. First place? Tong Yuan's eyes lit up, but then he laughed bitterly. Getting first place in the Academy tournament was too difficult. The Academy tournament covered all 10 celestial domains, and almost half of the deity realm's peerless geniuses had participated. If one could get first place in the tournament, the War God's Temple would probably immediately groom them like a holy son. Let's give it a try. There are still a few months before the Academy tournament. The deity's lake and the God of War pagoda are open to them. Let's see how far they can go. Han Li said slowly. All right. Tong Yuan nodded and said. After Ling Xiao defeated Tiangang, the generational tournament was nearing its end. Although there were still people who chose to challenge the other two, with Ling Xiao and Tiangang in front of them, most of the Ares College disciples seemed to have suffered a blow. Even their battles seemed somewhat perfunctory. Tiangang did not choose to fight. Instead, he sat down cross-legged to heal himself while carefully comprehending his gains from the battle. Just as Tong Yuan was about to announce the end of the generational tournament, Ling Xiao stood up once again. Lu Wu, have you forgotten about our deathmatch? Ling Xiao looked at Lu Wu indifferently. A deathmatch? Nonsense. Tong Yuan's expression turned ugly. Lu Wu had already broken through to the Divine King realm. With such talent, he would be able to get a decent ranking in the Academy tournament. Tong Yuan naturally did not want to hurt anyone. Chapter 1449. Dean, I remember that after the generational competition, we can have a battle to the death, right? Between Lu Wu and me, only one can survive. So please allow us to have a battle to the death. Ling Xiao said calmly as if he did not see Tong Yuan's ugly expression. That's right. We really need to settle this. Lu Wu said calmly. His eyes were deep, as if there was a black light shooting out from them. It was cold and indifferent, as if it could see through people's hearts. Is there really no way to resolve the hatred between the two of you? Must you have a battle to the death? Tong Yuan sighed as he smiled bitterly. Although Lu Wu had broken through to the Divine King realm, everyone had seen Ling Xiao's strength. No one thought that Lu Wu was a match for Ling Xiao. If it was a battle to the death, Lu Wu might die at Ling Xiao's hands. Dean, Lu Wu and I will fight to the death, regardless of who wins or loses. Ling Xiao smiled faintly as his eyes flashed with a sharp light. Not to mention that Lu Wu had the inheritance of time and menstruation, Lu Wu had tried to kill Ling Xiao several times. It was impossible for the two of them to coexist. Moreover, Lu Wu had a reason for Ling Xiao to kill him. Lu Wu said calmly, Dean, this battle to the death is unavoidable. Tong Yuan smiled bitterly and said, All right then, the two of you can enter the deity arena. Although Tong Yuan did not want to see Ling Xiao and Lu Wu fight to the death, he could not stop it. Even if he stopped it, the two of them would probably fight again once they left Ares College. Rather than that, it would be better to let them settle their grudges in Ares College. Swoosh, swoosh. Ling Xiao and Lu Wu leaped into the air, turning into two streaks of light, one gold and one black, as they entered the deity arena. Long Outyin is going to have a battle to the death with Lu Wu? I wonder who will win. After all, there are too many factors in a battle to the death. Someone exclaimed. His eyes were filled with anticipation. Isn't that obvious? Long Outyin will definitely win. Even Big Dipper Sr. was defeated by Long Outyin. Although Lu Wu has broken through to the Divine King realm, it will be difficult for him to defeat Long Outyin. That's hard to say. The strength of each of the 9 great kings is extremely strong. When they are sparring, they are unable to use their full strength. They all have trump cards, but when it comes to a real life and death battle, it's hard to say. Let's hope Long Outyin wins. If he dies at the hands of Lu Wu, it will be a great loss to Ares College. Everyone was in a heated discussion. Initially, everyone had calmed down after the battle between Tiangang and Long Outyin had ended. However, this battle of life and death had caused everyone's heart to be on edge again. The generational competition this time was really full of twists and turns. There were too many accidents. Long Outyin, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. But today, you still have to die. Lu Wu said calmly as a dim light flickered in his eyes. Oh, are you that confident that you can kill me? Ling Xiao said indifferently. Your talent is very strong. In time, I'm afraid it's not impossible for you to become a saint. Unfortunately, you don't know how to hide your strength. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. You're courting death, so you can't blame others. Lu Wu said calmly, but there was a deeper meaning in his words. Oh, you're so confident after breaking through to the Divine King realm? Or do you have other means to kill me? Ling Xiao looked at Lu Wu curiously. At the same time, his guess was confirmed. Lu Wu said indifferently, You'll know soon enough. Ling Xiao sneered and said, Lu Wu, a battle of life and death is not a battle of words. No matter what scheme you have, take my fist first. Rumble. As soon as Ling Xiao finished speaking, the blood qi around him exploded like a dragon. A dazzling fist was blasted towards Lu Wu. After his divine dragon body and indestructible war body had reached perfection, Ling Xiao's physical body had reached an unimaginable level. Therefore, he didn't need to use any martial arts at all. His casual attack was comparable to a divine king's strength. You're courting death. Lu Wu's eyes were cold as he said indifferently. He also launched a counterattack. Kacha! A dazzling rune rose from his palm. In an instant, heaven and earth trembled, and lightning flashed. Dazzling thunderbolts fell from the 9 heavens, suppressing Ling Xiao. Those thunderbolts intertwined with each other as if they had turned into a vast 5 elements millstone. It was majestic and powerful. That was the 5 thunder heavenly spirit technique. Ling Xiao noticed that Lu Wu had also cultivated the 5 thunder heavenly spirit technique to completion. Rumble. Ling Zhao's punch was purely based on his physical strength. The fist covered the sky and shattered the thunderbolts in the sky. An earth-shattering collision broke out. One had to admit that the Five Thunder Heavenly Spirit technique that Lu Wu had used with his Divine King Realm strength was extremely terrifying. It was comparable to the combat strength of a Divine King Realm expert. However, it was a pity that he had met Ling Xiao. The fist erupted with boundless light, and it tore through the layers of lightning and blasted the five-element millstone into pieces. After that, it smashed down towards Lu Wu's chest with an imposing aura like a rainbow. Lu Wu's expression changed slightly. Black light shone from his palm and a black ancient sword appeared. The sword radiance engulfed the heavens and the earth as it slashed towards Ling Zhao's arm. It was a sage-to-be treasure. Lu Wu had used the sage-to-be treasure to display the great wilderness sword principle. Not only was the sword radiance extremely fast, but it also exuded a mysterious aura that enveloped Ling Xiao. That was the power of the menstrual period. Since it was a battle of life and death, it would be a battle to the death. Not to mention a sage-to-be treasure, even a legendary emperor weapon would not be hidden. The mysterious power of time wanted to bind Ling Zhao's entire being. Ling Xiao had already expected that. His expression was still calm. However, a dazzling rune flew out from his palm. The power of the menstrual period erupted and counteracted the power of the menstrual period. At the same time, on Ling Zhao's fist, numerous blood and chi dragons burst forth and collided violently with the black ancient sword. Buzz. The black ancient sword buzzed and vibrated. A powerful force erupted and Lu Wu's arm trembled violently. It was as if he could not hold the black ancient sword firmly and his arm became numb. Ling Xiao took advantage of this opportunity and punched Lu Wu's shoulder. A crisp sound was heard. Lu Wu's arm was fractured. Accompanied by a flash of blood, Ling Xiao swept his leg out like a divine whip and hit Lu Wu's chest. Lu Wu's chest was swept by the terrifying divine power and directly caved in. Lu Wu spat out a mouthful of blood and was immediately sent flying. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.